because I'm used to seeing the drama of the true and fake young masters. So the first thing I did after returning to the wealthy family, I spoke to these 4 sisters who were protecting the fake young master. You don't want to treat me as your biological brother, and I have no intention of acknowledging you as my sisters, since in your hearts you only treat Mu Xuan as your biological brother. Then you only have him as your one brother. If you want to keep him, do as you please, just don't provoke me in the future. These words made the 4 daughters of the Mu family change their expressions drastically. Father Mu and Peizuru were both angry and anxious. I looked at Peizura's sad appearance and sighed. You and Dad shouldn't overthink it. Since I am willing to come back, it means I truly acknowledge you, but it is only acknowledging you too. I have no interest in kissing up to people who give me the cold shoulder. I am the noble young master of the city of wrongful deaths. It has always been others who come to please me. When is it my turn to swallow my pride and wrong myself to please others? Since I have occupied Mu Chen's body, it's considered that I have formed karma with him. Father Mu and Peizuru treat me sincerely, so I will naturally honor them well and treat them as my biological parents. As for the others, then it depends on the situation. In the silence, a sobbing sound suddenly rang out. The people at the dining table couldn't help but look over, only to see Mu Xuan with red eyes, crying and complaining to Mom, Dad, and sisters. Sorry, it's all my fault. Brother, you must not blame the sisters. Before his words could be finished, they were unceremoniously interrupted by me. Enough. Stop crying and weeping here. Do you think you are putting on a grand opera? You might love to sing, but I don't have the free time to listen. What do you really want? At worst, I'll just leave and return your family's happiness to you. Saying that, I made a gesture to stand up and leave. Mu Xuan was mocked by my words until his face turned red. Suddenly, he couldn't say a single word. Zhao Chen, what nonsense are you saying, child? This is your biological family right here. How can you just talk about leaving and then leave? Peizuru hastily opened her mouth, reaching out and tightly grabbing my wrist, deeply afraid that if I got upset, I would really leave. This will always be your home. You can do whatever you like. In this home, no one has the right to scold you. After speaking, she secretly glared at her daughters. Indeed, having daughters is just to collect debts. Father Mu also glared fiercely at his daughters. That's right, you are the master of this house. Whoever finds you displeasing can get lost themselves. From now on, just do whatever makes you comfortable. Let me see who dares to have even a bit of a problem with you. The attitude of Father Mu and his wife made me very satisfied. At least this couple are people who can see things clearly. If the 2 of them were also confused and unclear, insisting on wronging their biological son to favor their adopted son, then my attitude towards them in the future would just be average. Mu Xuan felt embarrassed, wronged, and heartbroken. He wished he could disappear and leave here immediately, but he really didn't have the courage. He was no longer the little young master of the Mu family. Now he was just an adopted son living under someone else's roof. Thinking of this, he felt even worse in his heart. Peizuru looked at Mu Xuan, softly comforting Xuan. Don't cry here anymore. Haven't we talked about this matter before? Zhao Chen is Zhao Chen. You are still you. There is no conflict between you 2 at all. Just stay at home with peace of mind. Mu Xuan was still sobbing continuously. I just feel too sorry for my brother. Having just taken a bite of food, my movements paused. Are you ever going to be done? Saying with your mouth that you feel sorry for me? Yet I haven't seen you proactively leave the Mu family since you have already chosen to stay. Then don't always put on this aggrieved face. Looking at it is really quite disgusting. Also, I am not your biological brother. In the future, please call me directly by my name. Of course, I could see what calculations Mu Xuan was making. Isn't it just wanting to put on a pitiful and aggrieved look so that everyone would feel sorry for him and protect him? This kind of low-level tactic is simply not enough to look at. If he loves to act, just let him act. But if he refuses to accept face and lacks tact, then don't blame me for not giving the parents face when the time comes. The expression on Mu Xuan's face froze instantly. Feeling like he was slapped in the face in public, his face alternated between pale green and red. His heart was simply about to explode with anger. But unfortunately, in front of everyone, he couldn't act out. Being subjected to such a blunt public dressing down by me, if he continued to pretend to be aggrieved, it would be too deliberate. Mu Yue is the youngest among the 4 sisters. Usually, her temper and personality are also the most impatient. Seeing this, she immediately wanted to speak up to defend Mu Xuan. But she was held tightly by Mu Wanting next to her. Mu Wanting looked at me sitting opposite her. Her eyes were full of curiosity and inquiry. This brother really seems to be a bit special. Mu Wanting's eyes flickered slightly. Welcome back to this home. What Mom and Dad just said is absolutely right. From now on, this is your home. Just do whatever makes you comfortable in the future. You don't need to consider other people's feelings at all. Today's matter is indeed our negligence. We thought you and Dad wouldn't get home so fast. So the few of us went out to handle some business. Please don't overthink it in your heart. All of us are actually very happy that you came home. I glanced at her indifferently. Seeing the eldest daughter proactively speak up to state her position, the expression on Father Mu's face finally became a bit more satisfied. He turned and ordered the servants nearby to continue serving dishes. Today they had instructed the kitchen to prepare a grand meal. All kinds of flavors were prepared, simply because they didn't know what I liked to eat. By the way, Dad, where did Xuan live before? Where are his former family members? How will these relationships be handled in the future? Or rather, Mu wanting suddenly remembered something. Pretending to be casual, she opened her mouth to ask. After finishing, she noticed Father Mu's expression slightly change. Dad? Why did you suddenly stop talking? Is there something hard to mention about this matter? We are all a family now. Brothers' matters are naturally our matters. You really don't need to keep hiding it from us. It seems this meal can't be eaten in peace. If you want to know, just ask me directly. I picked up a napkin and gently wiped the corner of my mouth. I was adopted by an old Taoist priest since I was a child. I have always lived in a dilapidated Taoist temple. That temple was built on a remote, barren mountain. The conditions were very poor, and there usually wasn't much incense or worship. Master and I could barely fill our stomachs, so I had never formally attended school before. Learning to read and write was taught to me by Master at the temple. From childhood to adulthood, I rarely went down the mountain. Master passed away 3 months ago due to old age. After Master left, I lived alone in the temple. Until recently, Dad finally found me and then brought me back here. Pausing slightly, I continued to add, that temple is now completely closed. After all, I am no longer there now. Of course, if I want to go back someday, I can still go back alone and continue living there. I finished explaining my past experiences in just a few words. My tone remained very calm and indifferent throughout. There were no complaints in my words, nor a single trace of tearful grievance, even less any accusation against fate. But Paiswiru and Father Mu felt incredibly heartbroken hearing it. Both husband and wife couldn't help but get red eyes. Mu Wanting and her 3 sisters were also stunned. With complicated feelings, they didn't expect that their biological brother, while they didn't know, originally meant to be the noble little young master of the Mu family, meant to be cherished in the palms of the whole family. Pampered Yue couldn't help but feel a bit guilty, feeling that her previous attitude was indeed too much. Seeing this, Mu Xuan inwardly cried out, "Oh no." Believing that I was definitely a deeply scheming person, the words spoken just now were clearly on purpose, intentionally acting pitiful to win everyone's sympathy. He reflexively wanted to open his mouth to apologize again, but suddenly remembered my attitude just now. With the words on his lips, he forcefully swallowed them back, changed his wording, switched to what he thought was a smart way to put it. Zhao Chen, now that you are already home, the days ahead will definitely get better and better. You just got back to this family. You are definitely not used to it yet. If there's anything you are unfamiliar with or don't understand, you can feel free to come find me anytime. I will definitely do my best to help you. If you don't mind in your heart and are willing, I can take you out to walk and look around. Let you familiarize yourself with the environment here as soon as possible. Oh, all right then. Thank you. Paiswiru tightly held my hand and also said these words, her eyes revealing deep heartache and guilt. Mom, I'm fine. Master and I were quite well before. Although the living conditions were indeed a bit hard, but the temple was very quiet and comfortable. Master, the old man, loved me very much too. From childhood to adulthood, actually, I lived very happily. What I just said is indeed not false. The real Mu Chen indeed lived very happily in the past. For so many years, although the living conditions at the temple were indeed not very good, but his master always loved him very much, and had done everything possible to give him the best of everything. Furthermore, there were basically very few people in the temple. Normally, the interpersonal relationships around him were very simple and pure. He lived his daily life freely without restraint. When lonely as a child, he would go to the back mountain to play with animals. He could have a lot of fun playing alone in the mountains. Life passed carefree, without worries. Mu Chen once said, he never felt it was hard. To him, true hardship was when Master was severely ill, critically ill and beyond the power of salvation. Master was his only relative in this world, was the final anchor for all his emotions and spirit. And it was also his first time tasting the pain of partying by death. After Master passed away, he stayed alone guarding the temple, without even a single person nearby to speak intimately with, living every day lonely and alone, dreary and desolate. In the half-month before Father Mu found him, Mu Chen went to the back mountain to gather firewood, and accidentally fell off a cliff. He was the only person on the remote barren mountain. No one knew about him falling off the cliff at all, so he died silently just like that. His soul after death went directly to the city of wrongful deaths, and I happened to return to the city to handle daily affairs. Seeing Mu Chen's soul, I found his fate profile to be peculiar. Looking at his birth date, 8 characters, and facial features, he was supposed to have a fate of great wealth, honor, and a smooth life. It was an extremely rare fate of having both happiness and longevity in this world. This kind of fate is generally a karmic reward for accumulating virtue over past lives. Yet he coincidentally appeared in the city of wrongful deaths now. This proved that he had already tragically died an unnatural death out there. The fate that should have belonged to him was artificially altered. As it happened, there was a big trouble recently in the city of wrongful deaths. I needed to personally take a trip to the human realm, so I proactively sought him out to make a fair trade. I borrowed Mu Chen's identity in the mortal world to handle my affairs, each taking what we need. Only then did all this that I experienced today in the Mu family happen. What I just said, they definitely won't believe. Especially the couple, Father Mu and Pei Zhu, feeling more and more that their biological son is a considerate and kind, good child. Feeling that these words were all said just to comfort them, in their hearts they were deeply grieving for their pitiful biological son, clearly born with the fate of a young master meant to enjoy fortune, but ended up wandering outside, suffering for over a decade in vain. Later they swore they must doubly compensate their biological son. The atmosphere at the dining table became heavy because of my words. Everyone harbored their own complicated thoughts in their hearts. The 4 sisters of the Mu family also didn't continue to pick faults. All silently lowered their heads and ate quietly. Father Mu and Pei Zura's hearts were entirely focused on me, gently asking from time to time if the food suited my taste. Xiao Chen, which dish do you prefer? Do you want Mom to serve you some hot soup to drink? The care was simply meticulous. Mu Xuan, sitting to the side, had a face full of hard-to-hide disappointment. Mu Yue, seeing this, wanted to speak up and say something several times. But when her gaze swept over me, her biological brother, she suddenly remembered those words I had just said. The words on her lips were involuntarily swallowed back. I was only focused on tasting the delicious dishes on the table. This scene fell into the eyes of the Mu family and turned into a different meaning. Pei Zwiru looked at me with tearful eyes. Her heart was simply hurting beyond measure. One look and you could tell. Her son, previously in the mountains, definitely had very few opportunities to eat something so rich and delicious. After all, living in a broken temple on a remote barren mountain, one can imagine how hard the living conditions were. Being able to fill his stomach every day was already considered good. Where would there be a chance to taste exotic delicacies? Pei Zwiru had secretly made up her mind in her heart. In the future, she would cook for me every day using different recipes. After dinner, the several children all sat nicely in the living room. Father Mu gave it the pleasant name of wanting to cultivate feelings with me, who just came home. I sat comfortably in the center of the living room, on the spacious leather sofa, excitedly staring at the super large LCD TV right in front, watching the images on the screen with great interest. Xiao Chen, do you really like watching TV? Pei Zwiru asked me with a gentle smile. With my eyes fixed straight on the TV, I used forced to nod my head. This TV set is really so interesting. The images inside are much more interesting than watching opera on a stage. I haven't been to this prosperous mortal world in a long time. I didn't expect the human world to have changed this much now. I feel like I am now, like a country bumpkin who just entered the city. Pei Zwiru, looking at my appearance, got red eyes again. Her poor biological son. He had clearly grown this big, but actually had never properly watched a TV. Just as she was thinking, the program on the TV suddenly went to commercials. Seeing this, Pei Zwiru immediately picked up the remote on the table. Xiao Chen, Mom will change the channel for you to watch. The drama you were just watching has finished broadcasting today. Let's change the channel to see other programs. There are still many good-looking and interesting TV programs. I nodded my head obediently, showing an extremely obedient and compliant appearance. Pei Zwiru casually pressed the remote to change the channel. Seeing the new channel broadcasting a family ethics drama, she then put down the remote control in her hand. But after a short while, the expressions of the whole family became awkward, especially Mu Xuan sitting to the side. His fair and delicate face instantly flushed red. His eyes were full of unconcealable shame, anger, and grievance. Things were just that coincidental. The plot playing on the TV was exactly a true and fake young master drama. The story of 2 children whose identities were accidentally swapped from childhood, and today happened to air the scene where the true young master was found and brought back. Pei Zwiru was also completely dumbfounded looking at the TV screen. I casually changed a channel. The plot broadcasted on the screen was exactly the same as the situation at home. This scene was simply embarrassing. The protagonist in the drama was brought back by his biological parents. The biological son returns home, but the adopted son hasn't left. Not only did they not send him away, they instead doted on him even more. better than to their own biological son, treating the adopted son as a treasure in their palms. While the biological son was treated like a weed, in the living room, an inexplicably awkward atmosphere instantly permeated. And yet, I even casually commented, the people in this world, why don't they love their biological son, but instead favor an adopted son? Although raised by their side for many years, it is human nature to be reluctant to part. But they shouldn't wrong the biological one. I shook my head repeatedly, expressing confusion. The Mu family felt I was making sarcastic remarks. It's a pity they couldn't produce evidence. Although they didn't send Mu Xuan away, they were absolutely not biased either, let alone neglecting and wronging Mu Chen. They were indeed reluctant to part with Mu Xuan. After all, they had raised him for over a decade. Feelings accumulate over time. How could they just throw him away right away? But they knew how to distinguish what is important. No matter how much they loved Mu Xuan, it wouldn't surpass Mu Chen. So they felt Mu Chen was just commenting on the TV drama, absolutely not mocking them. Even if he was truly mocking, then it was mocking. The several sisters, Father Mu and Pei Zwiru, secretly comforted themselves, hiding the guilty conscience at the bottom of their hearts. At first, they also thought about sending Mu Xuan away. Mu Xuan is about to become an adult soon. Could buy a house outside, remit living expenses to him on time, and support him all the way through college. But the daughters desperately objected, strongly dissuading them. Plus, they themselves were also Father Mu glared fiercely at his daughters. Mu Xuan really couldn't stay any longer. Covering his face and sobbing softly, turned around and ran all the way upstairs. I looked over with a blank face. What is wrong with him again? Mu Yui had a dark face, enduring forcefully without making a sound. Pei Zwiru smiled somewhat forcedly. It's nothing. It's probably because he just hasn't gotten used to it yet. I frowned slightly. Then, since I've come back to live now, isn't he going to cry every day? Wouldn't that be annoying to death? Pei Zwiru was instantly choked up, feeling a bit tired in her heart. Are you doing this on purpose? Mu Yui couldn't hold it in after all. I immediately looked away and blinked innocently. What? On purpose? Mu Yui looked at me through gritted teeth. You were just intentionally provoking him just now. Mom and Dad both said they would properly make it up to you. What else are you dissatisfied with? You want to be happy unless you force Mu Xuan away? Now I finally understood. I threw the remote control on the table and stood straight up, looking coldly at Mu Yui. Then must you force me away? To make way for your good brother. I can't even speak in my own home, and have to consider the fake young master's feelings when I speak. After speaking, I turned my head and left. The living room instantly fell silent. Father Mu angrily rushed over and scolded his youngest daughter a few words, scolding Mu Yue until she begged for mercy repeatedly. I'm warning you all, if you treat Mu Chen with this kind of attitude again, I will kick you all out. His expression became extremely severe. You all must understand, Mu Chen is your biological brother, a biological brother from the same mother. In the matter of him and Mu Xuan swapping identities, he is much more innocent than Mu Xuan. You are only afraid that Mu Xuan is being wronged. Why don't you think about how over these years, how many grievances your biological brother has suffered, and how much hardship he has endured? The Mu family doesn't mind continuing to raise him, but he absolutely cannot surpass Mu Chen. Father Mu's gaze fell on his youngest daughter, his face looking very ugly. You and Mu Xuan are of similar age, and have had the best relationship since childhood. I can understand you protecting him. But you must be clear. Mu Chen didn't do anything wrong, and he doesn't owe any of you anything. I will only say these words once. In the future, whoever dares to make Mu Chen sad again, see if I don't skin them alive. Mu Yui's mouth twitched, feeling like this was directed at her. Dad, just rest assured. We know our limits when doing things. Mu Wanting opened her mouth and said, explaining today's incident once again, we thought you wouldn't arrive so soon, which is why we agreed to go watch his competition. If we had known you'd be back early, I definitely wouldn't have gone to watch the competition. Mu Ruolin and Mu Yakin nodded. These two are twin sisters. Father Mu and Pei Zuen P.E. Sweru went upstairs with dark faces, leaving the four sisters looking at each other in the living room, glancing at each other. Eldest sister, do you feel that this brother of ours seems a bit? Mu Ruolin paused for a moment, taking a long time to think of a suitable word to describe the brother who just returned home. Special. This personality is quite special. Mu Wanting recalled tonight's events and nodded in deep agreement. Hayes, someone who refuses to take a loss. His mouth can talk someone to death. However, he doesn't seem to be doing it on purpose, not deliberately trying to provoke anyone, just saying whatever is on his mind, just doesn't know how to be tactful. His temperament is a bit too straightforward. She actually thought of the other brother's performance and couldn't help but frown. Mu Xuan is indeed too sensitive. If he continues like this from now on, and doesn't adjust his mindset in time, the one who suffers and feels bad will still be himself. Just like what Dad said just now, even if we have lived with him for over a decade, with deep feelings, being biased towards him can't happen time and time again, wronging our biological brother for his sake, so this mindset must be changed. Mu Wanting turned her head to look at Mu Yu. You have the deepest relationship with Mu Xuan and are the closest in age. You should properly guide him. Tell him not to overthink anymore. With Mu Chen back, Mom and Dad will definitely favor him. This is also human nature. But they won't stop loving him either. He is still Mom and Dad's son. Although Mu Yue is young and impulsive, she is definitely not a brainless person. She nodded solemnly. I understand. Also, Mu Wanting's expression hardened. Taking out the majesty of the eldest sister, treat Mu Chen with a better attitude in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson. After lecturing the youngest sister, Mu Wanting also got up and went back to her room. Mu Rualin and Mu Yakin exchanged a glance. Let's go. Mu Yue is quite angry. What kind of situation is this? It was clearly something everyone did together. How come in the end it's entirely my fault alone? I don't care what the people downstairs think. I went back to my room and directly closed the door. This room was carefully prepared by the parents. Decorated whether it's the design or the items, they are all styles that young boys like. Luckily, it's not pink. Otherwise, staying in a room like that, I'm afraid I would suffer from insomnia all night. Just after entering the room, I sensed a trace of abnormal fluctuation in the air. I gently waved my hand and laid down a barrier around the room to prevent anyone from noticing the anomaly and causing unnecessary suspicion. Immediately after, a man wearing a black robe appeared out of thin air in the room. A man wearing an imp mask. The man walked up to me and knelt on one knee. Your Highness? I looked at him with a frown. Why are you here? After asking, I had a bad premonition in my heart. As expected, the city lord ordered this subordinate to deliver a message. Sister has returned to the city of wrongful deaths. Hasn't she always been in the 6th hall? How long has it been since she returned to the city of wrongful deaths? Why did she return just as I came to the human realm? She returned to the city of wrongful deaths. Before coming out, I still held on to a fluke, thinking she would report back directly after finishing her business. Sister hadn't even returned to the city of wrongful deaths yet. I didn't expect things to go against my wishes. I had barely just snuck out, and she followed right behind to return, thinking of the words she had once warned me with. A flash of guilty conscience crossed my eyes. Sister had repeatedly exhorted back then that I must absolutely not come to the human realm without permission. When handling city affairs, we must discuss it first. But I happened to encounter Mu Chen and felt the timing was just right. Taking advantage of when Sister was not around, I arranged everything all by myself. With Sister's strict temperament, I'm afraid I will be scolded this time. To answer Your Highness, the city lord has already returned to the city of wrongful deaths. Discovered that Your Highness came to the human realm secretly, the lord is very angry, so ordered the subordinate to come and deliver a message. After speaking, he got up and made a gesture of presenting a letter. A faint light flashed in midair. An envelope floated out of thin air. Then the envelope slowly disappeared. A line of words clearly emerged, rippling slightly in midair, and quickly dissipated into the air. Although the time was very brief, I had already seen it very clearly. Saying it was a line of words, it was actually just 4 words, arriving very soon. This is really making me worry. It's not very good for Sister to come to the human realm, right? The masked man's voice had no fluctuation. Your Highness, no one can change the Lord's decision, meaning I shouldn't have wishful thinking, and just obediently prepare to welcome her. Instantly falling into silence, the man quickly disappeared from the room. I was like a deflated balloon. My whole body felt listless. Sister is coming over. How exactly does she plan to come? If she comes as the city lord, that'd be fine. This way she absolutely won't stay for long. Thinking like this, I rekindled my hope again. As for being settled with by her afterwards, I was also doing it for the sake of the city of wrongful deaths. Considering this point, she wouldn't be too harsh. On the 3rd day, when the Mu family came downstairs, they saw me watching TV in the living room. Their footsteps instantly halted. They blinked hard and looked at the large clock in the living room. For a moment, everyone fell silent. It was only past 6 in the morning. Hearing the noise behind me, mesmerized by the TV, I was distracted. I turned my head and glanced at the people coming downstairs, and casually greeted good morning. After greeting them, I immediately turned my head back to continue watching. That focused appearance simply didn't want to waste a single second. Paizuri was stunned for a moment. Coming back to her senses, she walked straight towards me and slowly sat down beside me. First, she glanced at the TV. The screen was broadcasting the morning news. Xiao Chen, you like watching TV this much? How about Mom asks someone to install one in your room? That way you can watch it in your room too. Paizuri now just wants to, regardless of everything, satisfy all her son's wishes. After hearing this, my eyes suddenly lit up. Just as I was about to nod in agreement, Mu, wanting, coming down from upstairs, beat me to it and opened her mouth. Mom, this is not very appropriate. Installing a TV in little brother's room, if he gets addicted to watching, what if he doesn't sleep at night? He is still growing right now. Her saying this did remind the mother. Right. Looking at her son's addicted posture, if a TV was installed in his room, he would definitely watch it all night long. That absolutely won't do. She quickly changed her tune. It's Mom who didn't think it through. That indeed won't do. Can't let it affect Xiaochun's rest. Better to watch it in the living room. Mom can also watch with you. We mother and son can even discuss the plot. The beautiful wish of watching TV all night was shattered. I gave Mu, wanting a resentful look. This eldest sister definitely doesn't like me. She won't even let me watch a TV. In comparison, it seems sister is still much better. Peizru sensed that her son was unhappy. Aside from finding it funny, her heart was full of ache. Which kid nowadays doesn't play on a smartphone? They don't care about TVs at all. Yet her son found it so novel. Who would believe it if this was said out loud? She coaxed him softly and gently. Installing it in the room is indeed inconvenient. It affects your night's rest too much, and you can't just stay in your room all the time. The room is just for sleeping. If you like watching, watch it in the living room. Nobody in the house likes watching TV. No one will fight with you for it. I thought about it, and also understood this reasoning. I nodded obediently, and then emphatically stressed one sentence. Then you absolutely cannot fight with me for the remote. Peizweru couldn't help but chuckle out loud, her eyes full of motherly love. All right. The TV in the house is all yours. Whoever dares to fight you for the channel, he'll help you beat them up. After speaking, she meaningfully glared at the several daughters who were coming downstairs one after another. Mu Wanting's mouth twitched slightly. How long has it been since she watched TV? How could she fight with her little brother to watch TV? If anyone were to fight for it, it'd be the fourth sister. Mu Wanting glanced at her fourth sister. Mu Yui instantly acted like her tail was stepped on. Eldest sister, why are you staring at me? Would I really fight with him for a channel? She wasn't that childish. As soon as she jumped up to retort, sitting in the living room, the other three daughters of the Mu family, as well as Mu Xuan, who just came downstairs, and Father Mu all looked towards her, with varying expressions in their eyes. I slowly added a stab. Even if you wanted to fight with me, we'd have to see if you even have the ability. Peizuru immediately yelled at her youngest daughter. From now on, you are not allowed to fight Zhao Chen for the TV. Do you hear me? If I find out you bullied him, I'll have your dad deduct all your allowance and not leave a single cent for you. Mu Yue instantly looked as aggrieved as a frog, holding her cheeks with a face full of resentment, secretly glaring at me several times. I was too lazy to even give her a glance from the corner of my eye, angering her so much that she didn't even want to eat breakfast. Normal children at this age are generally in their senior year of high school. Mu Xuan should be taking the college entrance exam next June. Mu Chen, logically speaking, should be the same. But he had always lived in a Taoist temple before and hadn't received formal, systematic education. His age is right here. So which grade should he start learning from? Go straight to the senior year. Could he keep up? School registration is relatively easy to handle, but which grade to enroll in makes people worry. The more Father Mu thought about it, the tighter his frown became, and brought up the matter of going to school with me. I just happened to use this opportunity to understand the world. Mu Xuan beside me rolled his eyes in thought, and suggested with a smile, Dad, how about letting Zhao Chen come to our class? That way it would be convenient for me to take care of him, and I could help him out academically. I didn't even give him a single look. Father Mu actually felt somewhat tempted, but worried again that his son's schoolwork couldn't keep up. If he couldn't keep up, his grades would be too poor. Mu Xuan's grades have always been excellent. With the two compared like this, moreover, the Mu family taking the wrong child is something that cannot be hidden in their social circle. They never even thought about covering it up. When the time comes and everyone knows, it's inevitable that the two will be compared. What if it hurts his son's self-esteem? Mu Wanting spoke up steadily. You don't need to worry too much about this. If little brother can't keep up, we can just hire a private tutor for 1 UN coaching. We can also teach him personally when we have free time. The first semester is about to end soon. Let little brother wait until the next semester begins to enroll, and take advantage of this time to properly catch up on his studies. I believe it shouldn't be a big problem. Peizura's eyes suddenly lit up, happily clapping her hands together. Right? How come I didn't think of this? We can hire a private tutor. Besides the fourth sister not being great at studying, the three of you all have very good grades. Tutoring Zhao Chen in senior year subjects is absolutely no problem. Saying so, she made a decision on her own. First, let Zhao Chen take a break at home for 2 days. Then you three sisters take turns, each tutoring one subject, to help Zhao Chen familiarize himself with the school curriculum as soon as possible. Mu Wanting nodded. Sure, Since eldest sister nodded and agreed, the second and third sisters also followed and nodded. Mu Yue for a moment didn't know whether to feel lucky or annoyed that she was looked down upon by others. I had originally planned to speak up and refuse, but seeing that the three sisters all agreed, and Peizuiru was full of enthusiasm again, I silently swallowed back the words of refusal. Mu Xuan bit his lower lip, lowered his eyes, masking the deep grievance in his eyes. The matter of the Mu family raising the wrong child has long not been a secret in their social circle. The parents never thought about hiding it. The two had even planned it out long ago. Wait until I am familiar with the environment. Just host a banquet. Invite the celebrities in the circle to attend. Openly and honorably restore my identity. To avoid me being mocked and wronged when I go out in the future, although I don't really like this kind of occasion, but I also understand this is a necessary process. Otherwise, the outside world will definitely guess wildly, thinking that I, the true young master, am not welcomed. Or even suppressed by Mu Xuan, this fake young master. Once I slightly adapted to the new environment, Peizuiru couldn't wait to pull me to go on a crazy shopping spree in a large mall. Besides eldest sister and father who had to go to work, everyone else was dragged out to accompany me shopping. Yet Mu Xuan was the only one left behind. Mu Yue sat in the passenger seat, pouting angrily, glaring at me from the rearview mirror from time to time. I was too lazy to even lift my eyelids. I could guess what she was mad about, even with my toes. It was Mu Xuan himself who didn't want to come along. Could it be that she expects me to beg him? Arriving at the mall's parking lot, Mu Yue rushed to park the car. Mu Ruolin and Mu Yakin accompanied mother and walked into the mall entrance with me. Starting today's shopping journey, the Mu family daughters were responsible for carrying bags the whole time. Peizuiru intimately held my arm. As we were walking, I suddenly stopped in my tracks, turned my head and listened carefully for a moment. Mom, did you hear a strange sound? I seem to have heard a muffled thud just now. It sounded like something falling from a high place, smashing heavily onto the ground, and it was absolutely not an ordinary object. That kind of sound is very special. Peizuiru followed suit and listened closely. No, this is a large mall. It's very bustling. Even if some sound came over, it must definitely be the noise of the crowd. Just as she spoke, Mu Ruolin noticed something wrong ahead. Faint screams could also be heard in bursts. Mom, it seems something happened ahead. My eyes flickered slightly. I backhandedly grabbed Peizuiru's wrist. Mom, let's go over and take a look. Without waiting for others to speak up and stop me, I had already pulled mother and ran quickly, squeezing towards the direction of the incident, leaving the sisters looking at each other on the spot. Why is he so gossipy? Mu Yue muttered as she hurried over after parking the car. Mu Ruolin glanced at her indifferently. If Mom hears this, you won't be able to escape another scolding. Mu Yue rolled her eyes speechlessly. Let's hurry and follow them to take a look too, just in case some trouble really happened. Mom and little brother could easily run into danger, Mu Yakin said calmly, lifted her feet and followed right away. Mu Ruolin also walked quickly to follow. Mu Yue walked unhurriedly at the very end. Peizuiru was pulled by her son, jogging all the way. Very soon they arrived where the crowd was gathered. Watching her son forcefully squeezing into the crowd, her mouth couldn't help but twitch a few times. I really couldn't tell. Zhao Chen usually looks cold and indifferent. Turns out he is a child who loves to watch the excitement so much. Oh my, looking at him makes him feel even cuter, doesn't it? But when Peizuiru clearly saw the scene ahead, her face instantly turned deathly pale, exclaimed in terror, subconsciously blocked in front of me. Feeling that this was still not safe enough, she quickly turned around and covered my eyes, not letting me see this horrifying scene before my eyes. A severe accident had actually occurred in the mall. I actually just wanted to check the situation. Why did she even cover my eyes? I am someone from the underworld. I can tell how this person died at a single glance. If it was truly a wrongful death, then wouldn't she have to go to my city of wrongful deaths? Then wouldn't she become my subordinate? Sigh. The city of wrongful deaths is really about to be overcrowded now. Mom, I am no longer a child. I am not afraid. I gently pulled down Peizuiru's hand and said incredibly calmly. Peizuiru gave me an annoyed eye roll. How are you not a child? You haven't even celebrated your birthday yet? Truly a miscalculation. I, a dignified 1,000-year-old ghost, have now become a child. Mu Ruolin caught up and also blocked in front of me. I helplessly rubbed my forehead. The mall security came out to handle it immediately and also called the police right away, called for an ambulance, and began to evacuate the dense crowd of onlookers. Peizuiru wouldn't let me be gossipy, forcefully pulled me away quickly. Being affected by this incident after all, seeing that the shopping was almost done, Peizuiru thought about heading home first and come back to the mall another day when free. With this kind of life and death matter happening, it really makes people feel it is a bit unlucky. Mom, you guys go to the car and wait for me first. I'm going to the corridor for some fresh air. Weru originally wanted to go with me, but was refused by me extremely firmly. I am not a 3-year-old baby, needing a parent to accompany closely just to get some fresh air. I followed the signs and walked to the long corridor. When I was standing by the corridor window, a young man walked over. Seeing me standing by the window, he was startled, then lowered his head and hurried past. My gaze fixed steadily on his back. My nostrils flared slightly. I gently sniffed the air. I smelled a trace of death. I deliberately dawdled by the window. That man quickly turned back around. Seeing me still standing by the window, he froze for a moment, seeming to not expect that I actually hadn't left yet. I slowly and unhurriedly waited for him to get closer, and sniffed carefully once again, confirming that I did indeed get it from his body. Smell that scent of death. Although the smell was very faint, I couldn't help but take a deep look at him. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? The other party noticed my gaze immediately, like his sore spot was stepped on. He immediately snapped back, then walked far away rapidly with a flustered pace. No matter how you look at this back figure, it reveals guilt and panic. If a person's life is coming to an end soon, their body will carry a dense aura of death. That man just now obviously wasn't like this. Then there are only two possibilities. Either he was tainted by it from someone else, or he killed someone with his own hands. There are too many possibilities for the former. It's hard to draw a conclusion. The situation for the latter is much simpler and clearer. I couldn't help but associate it with that young girl who fell from upstairs in the mall just now. I calmly clapped my hands, turned around and left. Weru was waiting in the car, burning with anxiety. Having just experienced such a horrifying thing made her always have an uneasy premonition in her heart, deeply afraid that the newly recovered son would meet with an accident. Until we returned home safely, her constantly hanging heart was finally completely relieved. She quickly threw the mall incident to the back of her mind, busying herself back and forth organizing the bought items, while I, as soon as I got home, collapsed on the sofa, turned on the TV and continued to watch with great interest, igniting into a hardcore TV fanatic. Mu Ruolin and Mu Yakin returned to their rooms to get busy with homework. The two sisters are both straight-A students. They will be seniors in college next year. Their studies have also become exceptionally busy. Mu Yue is the most idle one, carelessly sitting down on the living room sofa, watching Mom busying herself upstairs. She couldn't hold back her loose tongue for a moment. Couldn't help but mockingly say, "Country bumpkin, what's so good about watching TV? Never seen the world." My eyes were fixed dead on the TV screen. Hearing her words with my ears, I nodded and admitted with extreme composure, "I grew up in a Taoist temple deep in the mountains. Of course I have never seen the world. I am the prince of the city of wrongful deaths." After sister threw all the affairs to me, I was so busy my feet didn't touch the ground. Indeed, I didn't have time to pay attention to trivial mortal matters, only knowing the general situation. But now that I have taken over Mu Chen's identity, I must seize the time to understand this world. I think watching TV is the fastest way, knowing worldly affairs without stepping out of the house. How convenient and trouble-saving. Mu Yue was severely choked up. "You are definitely doing this on purpose, right? Deliberately bringing this up to make us feel guilty, wanting to make us feel sorry for you, so that your status in this house will be secured." Mu Yue chattered incessantly on the side. I bestowed upon her a disdainful glance, looking at her like looking at a fool. Catching a glimpse of the figure coming downstairs from the corner of my eye, I loudly complained without any psychological pressure. "Mom, Mu Yue is scolding me again. She scolded me for being a country bumpkin and said I was deliberately making you guys feel guilty. Wanting to make you feel sorry for me? She dislikes me so much. Does she want to force me to leave this home?" Mu Yue's eyes widened sharply, a mouthful of old blood almost. Before she could react, her ear was forcefully grabbed by someone. "Calm down, Mom. You calm down a bit. Don't listen to his nonsense here." I absolutely did not. Mu Yue bared her teeth in pain, but didn't forget to defend herself loudly. I pointed my finger at her nose and cheeks, pouting angrily. With a trace of perfectly timed grievance on my face, she said it with her own mouth. She said I am a country bumpkin, who has never even seen a TV set. I have already explained. I grew up in a Taoist temple deep in the mountains. It's normal not to have seen the world. And then she started criticizing me. Mu Yue opened her mouth to refute, but she did indeed say these words. But that wasn't what she meant at all. "I think your skin is itching and you need a lesson. You come over here to me. Let's see how I teach you a lesson today. Don't affect your brother watching TV here." Weru wasn't soft-hearted at all this time, forcefully pulling her ear and dragging her to the side, determined to properly educate this wretched girl. Not knowing what is wrong with this child, obviously doting on Mu Xuan so much, spoiling him like some rare treasure, Why does she target Xiaochen everywhere as soon as he returns? Obviously Xiaochen is her real biological brother, a blood relative from the same mother. Being so unable to distinguish what is important, it seems she has been lectured to little normally. I cast a cold eye at Mu Yue, who was crying bitterly, without a single shred of sympathy in my heart, and even gave her an extremely smug look, angering Mu Yue so much she almost ascended to heaven on the spot. I have finally understood completely. Among these 4 daughters of the Mu family, this Mu Yue has the most useless brain, hopelessly stupid. My attention returned to the TV screen, staring intently at the news channel, as if anxiously waiting for something. Unsurprisingly, the local TV station broadcast the mall incident. Around 11 a.m. today, a falling incident occurred at the CG Mall in the city center. A young woman had a sudden accident in the mall, severely injured and unfortunately passed away after rescue efforts failed. The police are still investigating the specific cause of the fall. She really died. I slightly narrowed my eyes. Couldn't help but think of the person I met in the corridor, also roughly the same age, with an extremely panicked and guilty expression. The key is that he carried the scent of death on him. Could that man be related to the deceased? Was the girl who fell due to an accidental slip or suicide? Or was she murdered by someone? I wished I could go to the scene immediately to investigate, to see whether her lifespan was up or if she died a violent death. But I had just returned to the Mu family not long ago, and am not familiar with this city at all. Wanting to go out alone would be as hard as ascending to heaven. Thinking of this, I had to temporarily rest this thought. After watching the news broadcast, I slowly and unhurriedly stood up and walked slowly towards the other side, appearing to kindly persuade Mom, stop scolding her. Actually, what she said just now wasn't wrong either. Before I could even finish my words, Mu Yue yelled with a belly full of resentment, "I don't need your fake kindness here." Now this has really poked the hornet's nest. Peisweru, whose anger had almost subsided, had her anger flare straight up again. "Xiaochen, you don't need to mind this wretched girl. She is very thick. Even if the feather duster breaks, she'll be fine. Mom stewed some tonics for you in the kitchen. Go quickly and see if it's done stewing." Peisweru intentionally sent her son away. I cast a sympathetic glance at Mu Yue, turned around and went briskly to the kitchen to find food. Mu Yue felt I was purely gloating, glaring fiercely at my back, only to be caught red-handed by Mu Yue. Today she absolutely has to break the feather duster. I was still pondering what method to use. To find the man I met in the corridor that day, I didn't expect the opportunity to deliver itself to my door. The Mu family is going to hold a grand recognition banquet. The entire upper class of High City, the social celebrities almost all received the Mu family's invitation. On the day of the banquet, the Mu family villa was extraordinarily bustling. Clothes, fragrant, and shadows of hair beautifully dressed guests, wine glasses clinking, glamorous socialites could be seen everywhere, as well as successful men in suits and leather shoes, gathering in 2s and 3s to chat. I stayed in my room upstairs the whole time. Peisweru was tied up downstairs, preparing to come up and get me down when it was time to justifiably and honorably introduce me to everyone. After I changed into my haute couture suit, seeing it was about time, I walked out of the room. My footsteps paused slightly when passing Mu Xuan's room, and I tilted my ear slightly to listen. It really wasn't that I intentionally wanted to eavesdrop. It was really that the people inside, relying on the noise downstairs, spoke with slightly louder voices. Plus, I am no ordinary mortal. With a slight listen, I identified the voice. The woman talking with Mu Xuan was my nominal aunt. Because of this grand recognition banquet, the Mu family members from the capital all came to, including the uncle's family who inherited the Mu family company and ancestral home, as well as the majority of the assets, and that aloof and arrogant old Madame Mu. However, I feel their sincerity is just so-so. The banquet is clearly held today, yet they only arrived unhurriedly last night. Old Madame Mu stayed in the Mu family villa. The people of the first branch went straight to stay at a city hotel. I propped my chin with one hand and pondered secretly. Mu Xuan seems to have a very good relationship with the first branch. This aunt, from beginning to end, only gave me an extremely fleeting glance, and casually brushed me off with a few polite words. Nothing more. Just as I was thinking, the sound of footsteps came from inside. I hurriedly retreated back into my room. After those two left the room and went downstairs, I opened my door again and walked out. Peisweru also happened to come upstairs to find me. Seeing me newly dressed up, she immediately smiled, her eyes full of motherly love and amazement. "Xiaochen is really handsome tonight." These words were indeed not false at all. Peisweru felt it was probably due to cultivation in the world, having too little entanglement with worldly disturbances, that cultivated this clean and transparent aura. The more she looked, the more she liked it. The more she looked, the more affection she felt. She secretly swore in her heart to definitely do her utmost to protect her son in the future. Let him forever maintain his current state. Let him be carefree for a lifetime. It's about time. Let mom take you downstairs. After walking 2 steps, I pretended to ask casually, "Don't? We need to call Xuan along." "No need. This banquet tonight is hosted for you. He is currently with his aunt right now. It's fine. Call him along. I guess he will overthink things again. This child has a very sensitive mind lately." This also made them not know what was best to do. Aunt seems to dote on him very much. According to what I have learned during this period, between my cheap dad and his biological older brother, the relationship seems very mediocre. Otherwise, after the family separation back then, he wouldn't have come directly to High City to start from scratch. Although they return to the capital every year for a reunion, that is purely out of respect for old Madame Mu. So why does Aunt favor Mu Xuan so much? Peizuiru, however, didn't think there was anything strange. Patiently explained, "You also know your dad's family situation. He has an older brother and an older sister. Your uncle and aunt have no son. Your aunt did give birth to a son, but that child doesn't have the surname Mu after all. Only I gave birth to such a precious son like you?" So saying, guilt dyed Peizuiru's brows. The person who was originally supposed to enjoy all this doting should have been her Zhao Chen. He is the little young master cherished in the palms of the Mu family. But fate made a fool of people. Thinking of these past events, she felt a burst of heartache again. I slightly raised my eyebrows. So it was actually because of this reason. I have been back in the Mu family for over half a month. Tonight is considered my first official appearance. Peizuiru and Father Mu accompanied me on the left and right. I slowly walked down the stairs. My appearance and demeanor instantly attracted everyone, firmly capturing the gaze of the guests present. Without the slightest look of timidity or cowering, the temperament revealed in my every gesture is clearly that of a noble family pouring in countless painstaking efforts to carefully cultivate a little young master of an aristocratic family. Mu Xuan, seeing me in the center of attention, couldn't help but feel his heart tighten sharply, staring fixedly at my figure. Unable to hide the disappointment and deep jealousy in his heart, "Mu Xuan, don't panic. He is just pretending right now. Who doesn't know how to put on an act? You are the young master raised by the Mu family. You absolutely must not forget. You have lived in the Mu family for over a decade. So what if he is the biological one?" Feelings ultimately take time to cultivate. Lu Manche noticed Mu Xuan's emotional fluctuations, patted the back of his hand comfortingly, and comforted him softly. Mu Xuan managed to force a bitter smile. "Aunt, I am fine. I am actually quite happy for them. Mom and Dad found their biological son. This is a great thing. I have enjoyed so many years in the Mu family. In the end, it's me who let Zhao Chen down." Lu Manche glared at him crossly and reprimanded in a low voice. "What does this have to do with you? Weren't you also a baby back then? It was them as parents who didn't watch carefully. That caused the mistake of swapping identities. Whoever is to blame, it can't be blamed on you. All right, put your heart back in your stomach. Don't overthink. I know your parents' character very well. They raised you with all their heart for so many years. Even if their biological son is back now, they absolutely won't stop loving you. You need to correct your mindset. Don't lower your own status yourself. In short, you remember this for me? You don't have any faults, and you didn't let anyone down. Do you understand?" Mu Xuan bit his lip and nodded gently. Without saying any more annoying words, Mom and Dad indeed won't stop loving him. But it absolutely can't compare to before. Before, at home, or even in the entire Mu family, whether in High City or over in the capital, he was the only golden grandson of the Mu family. The whole family held him in the palms of their hands, always granting whatever he asked for. Everyone's eyes and hearts were full of him. But now what? He clearly felt a huge disparity. Since Mu Chen came back, Mom and Dad didn't have him in their eyes anymore. Their hearts and eyes were filled only with Mu Chen. Even the sisters were the same. Only fourth sister still wholeheartedly defended him. Thinking about it, Mu Xuan felt incredibly wronged. Things that originally all belonged to him, now he forcibly has to share more than half out? Who can bear this kind of gap? While he was distracted, Father Mu and Peizuiru had already extremely grandly introduced me to the guests once. Unapologetically showing their importance and love for me, even the 4 Mu sisters stood beside their parents. This scene falling into everyone's eyes naturally carried a completely different meaning. Mu Xuan, this Mu family is too much, right? The whole family acting so loving over there. Why did they deliberately leave you out? Lu Manche went to socialize. The rich young masters who usually get along with Mu Xuan came over, surrounding him, feeling indignant on his behalf. Don't speak nonsense. Tonight is Xiao Chun's home turf to begin with. This banquet was specially held for him. He is the well-deserved protagonist. What would it mean if I joined in? It wasn't that Father Mu and Peizuiru intentionally left him out. Before this, Peizueru also suggested letting Xuan go on stage together when the time came, but Xuan refused incredibly firmly. He insisted that Chen is the true young master, and this banquet was specifically held for Chen. Then he indeed shouldn't stand there. He spoke very reasonably and sensibly. Peizueru thought about it, and felt that him standing to the side might not be a good thing for him, because if so, there would bound to be comparisons, which would instead make his situation more embarrassing. So this matter was dropped, but although he dropped it, Xuan still felt wronged in his heart. This time, although he said so, his tone couldn't hide his sense of loss. This made his friends feel even more injustice for him. Xuan, although that Chen is the true young master, but you have also stayed in the Mu family for over a decade. There's no reason to exclude you as soon as he returns. Raising an extra son makes no difference for the Mu family. Based on the order of first come, first served, he is the outsider who came late. How can you judge this by first come, first served? He is mom and dad's biological son. Having suffered so much in a Taoist temple, deep in the mountains, while I enjoyed all the blessings in the Mu family, it's normal for him to be angry in his heart. I can understand all of this. I absolutely won't hold it against him. Xuan pretended to be magnanimous. The friends beside him curled their lips in disdain, unapologetically showing the contempt and disdain in their eyes. A wild boy who grew up in a Taoist temple in the deep mountains might not even have seen what a TV looks like. Hard to imagine there's still this kind of country bumpkin between you and this country bumpkin exuding rusticity all over. Anyone with a bit of a brain knows who to favor. You are the noble young master whom the Mu family used money and power to carefully build up and cultivate. How can that country bumpkin compare? If Uncle Mu and Aunt Pei can't think clearly, they will regret it sooner or later one day. Just wait for this country bumpkin to embarrass the Mu family and reduce the Mu family to the laughingstock of high society. Xuan, your personality can't be too weak either. The more you yield like this, the easier it is for people to bully you. You must fight for what is yours. Xuan nodded continuously. I know it all. Just rest assured, you guys, no one bullies me at home. Fourth sister is still as good to me as before. Words that seemed to comfort were actually stirring up trouble. Only saying that Mu Yue treats him like before? Isn't that indirectly saying that the other three sisters are no longer as attentive to him as before? Do they not want the adopted brother after having a biological brother? Xuan knew when to stop and didn't continue speaking. It wasn't that he really wanted to do something bad. It's just that seeing Chen showing off just now, he suddenly worried that he would quickly integrate into the circle and then steal all the spotlight that belonged to him. That's why he thought to poison his friends' minds against him first. Word spreads from 1 to 10 and 10 to 100. Even if he can't really stop anything, at least it could have a little effect. Right as they were talking, the few of them saw tonight's absolute protagonist, which is me. Walking towards this side, the faces of the few people changed slightly, but quickly pretended to be calm again. Comforting themselves, I didn't hear what was just said. What's there to be afraid of? What's there to feel guilty about? Xuan actually also felt a bit guilty in his heart, so he didn't notice that after a friend beside him saw me, his face turned pale with fright, then swiftly lowered his eyes, his hands unconsciously clasping tightly together, and quickly let go like getting an electric shock, feigning natural calmness. You look really handsome tonight. Xuan smiled softly and praised me. I nodded slightly. I am handsome. Isn't this a matter of course? Speaking of which, it's really a wonderful kind of fate. His own appearance really resembles mine somewhat. When I saw Chen's soul in the city of wrongful deaths, I myself couldn't help but be surprised a bit. I didn't expect this newly arrived unlucky ghost to actually look somewhat similar to me. Later, I thought about it carefully. This is probably a destiny ordained by fate. Accepting the praise with an extremely calm posture, my gaze fell on the man beside Xuan. Who is this? Xuan looked somewhat surprised. After glancing at his friend, introduced, this is my good friend Jiang. He is the little young master of the Jiang family. Xuan and Jiang have known each other the longest. The two became inseparable friends in elementary school and have accompanied each other all the way to present, so it's young master Jiang. I deliberately dragged out the end of my sentence, my tone revealing a hint of profound meaning. Xuan looked at the two of us with a strange expression and asked in confusion, Xiao Chen, do you actually know Jiang? Before I even opened my mouth to reply, Jiang impatiently opened his mouth to deny. No, we don't know each other at all. But he acted really too anxiously, making it seem extremely abnormal and suspicious instead. The smile on my face became even more profound. We indeed don't know each other. Just bumped into each other in the mall corridor a few days ago. At that time, I deliberately dragged out my voice. Before I finished speaking, Jiang hurriedly interrupted me. I suddenly remembered I have urgent business to handle. I'll take my leave first. Well, gather another day. After speaking without waiting for Xuan to respond, he turned and fled. No matter how you look at that back figure, it looks like fleeing in panic. I originally intended to come over and test him. I didn't expect Jiang Yan's psychological quality to be so poor. Doesn't this clearly tell me that there is absolutely a problem? If there was no problem, what was he panicking for here? Thinking this, I couldn't help but cast my gaze on Xuan. Xuan's whole body stiffened under my gaze, inexplicably feeling a burst of tension and uneasiness. Stuttering as he asked, "What's wrong?" "This friend of yours." My speaking speed was sluggish, as if deliberately keeping Xuan in suspense. Chen, if Jiang Yan has ever offended you, you must not hold it against him. He definitely didn't mean to offend you. He is actually quite a nice person. I smiled indifferently. It's fine, since he is your good friend. Then invite him to our house as a guest another day. Xuan was obviously stunned for a moment. Opened his mouth wanting to say something, but I didn't give him the chance to speak at all. I think we should set it for the day after tomorrow. You invite him to be a guest at home. I'll have the kitchen prepare in advance. Make some high-end desserts to entertain him. The day after tomorrow, the people from the first branch will also return to the capital. My tone wasn't negotiating with him, but issuing a cold notification. After I finished, I just turned around and left, absolutely not giving Xuan any chance to refuse, leaving Xuan and his friends looking at each other, with their heads full of question marks. That I would set my sights on Jiang Yan isn't without reason. Besides smelling the scent of death on him that day, later there were also related broadcasts on the news, saying that the girl who fell in the mall that day died from an accidental fall. If it really was an accidental fall, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the problem is, I truly felt the resentment. That was the resentment from the girl who fell. Although I am in the mortal world right now, but when a new member is added to the city of wrongful deaths, I naturally can still sense it. Wen Yimo was involved in a dispute and ultimately suffered an unfortunate accidental fall. Yet the truth was covered up by them. In this world, every day, the normal deaths and abnormal deaths are so numerous. It's not that I can sense every person who dies a violent death. This also requires triggering a certain destiny. I think it's probably because that day in the mall, I happened to be at the scene of the incident too, and had been in close contact with the deceased. So I keenly sensed her resentment. The city of wrongful deaths is the resting place for those who pass away accidentally. People who pass away normally will go through the normal procedures. The underworld, then, based on their lifetime, judges where they should go next. Most people are reincarnated. A few ascend to heaven due to their merits, and another part is sent to the city of wrongful deaths. Until their original lifespan ends, if they were innocently implicated by others, they still have to wait for the truth to come to light, and their resentment to dissipate, before they can continue reincarnating. But now the city of wrongful deaths is overcrowded. Souls that should have reincarnated again are delayed in leaving and can only be stranded. Day after day, year after year. The people going to the city of wrongful deaths are still many, while those leaving are getting fewer and fewer. If this continues, the city of wrongful deaths will cease to exist. Millions of souls will also dissipate with it. Tracing the cause, the gate of rebirth was closed for unknown reasons, unable to be opened. Ghosts naturally couldn't leave. I and sister have pondered this problem for a long time. We sought many methods but couldn't solve it. Later, Kesida Garba Bodhisattva gave a hint. Only then did sister and I suddenly realize, and then came the matter of me coming to the mortal world. My purpose in coming here is to collect merits and faith, to restart the gate of rebirth, and let the city of wrongful deaths resume operations. Now that the opportunity has presented itself, I can't just push it away, can I? Xuan thought but couldn't understand what exactly I wanted to do. After the banquet, he told Peizuru about this matter. He originally thought, with the way Peizuru cares about me now, she might refuse. He didn't expect her to happily agree. With Peizuru here, he had no way to go out. When he ran into Muyu, his eyes flickered, greeted her as usual, and put on an appearance of hesitating to speak. Anyone with eyes could see he had something to say, let alone Muyue, who cared about him. Originally, Muyue wanted to avoid him. She was feeling a bit guilty. Regarding tonight's matter, she felt Zhao Xuan had been wronged, but she also had no choice. Zhao Xuan grew up with her and was spoiled by the few of them for over a decade. But Xiao Chen was also her biological brother. The palms and backs of the hands are all flesh, both are dear. To say that in order to keep Xiao Xuan from being wronged, she would let Zhao Chen be wronged along with him, that's definitely a no-go. If she dared to do that, Mom and Dad would dare to kick her out of the house. So for a moment she didn't know how to face him, and thought it better to avoid Zhao Xuan. But seeing his troubled face, looking like he wanted to say something but had misgivings, she still felt heartbroken. Zhao Xuan, do you have something you want to say to fourth sister? Xuan bit his lip, hesitated for a moment. Fourth sister, Xiao Chen. I don't know if Jiang Yan offended Zhao Chen and made him unhappy. If it really is like this, then I am willing to apologize on Jiang Yan's behalf. But Zhao Chen? He asked me to invite Jiang Yan over to the house. Fourth sister. Do you think Xiao Chen is looking for trouble? Mu Yui's brows furrowed tightly, obviously also feeling it strange for me to do so. After thinking about it, she said, "It's fine. I am free anyway. I will just stay at home when the time comes, and won't let him mess around." Mu? Xuan fell silent for a moment. Fourth sister. Can you forget it? Xiao Chen is also my brother. Jiang Yan is my good friend. I don't want the two of them to have any conflicts. Mu Yue scratched her head. Xiao Xuan, you also know what the situation at home is like now. If he wants to invite your friend over as a guest, Mom and Dad will definitely agree. Not only will they agree, they will also be very happy. So there is simply no reason to refuse. If he brought it up and said no, it's guaranteed his mom would mock him again. Seeing Mu Xuan looking full of disappointment, Mu Yue patted her chest to guarantee, "Rest assured, I will keep an eye on him when the time comes, and absolutely won't let him bully Jiang Yan." Since words had reached this point, Mu Xuan didn't have any other choice either. The reason why he wanted to stop it had another reason, which was having a sort of inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. Regarding intuition, he still believed in it very much. But since he couldn't stop it, he could only think of other ways. In general, tonight's recognition banquet was hosted quite successfully. Old Madame Mu, although she didn't behave that enthusiastically or happily, she wasn't really so muddled as to do things that shouldn't be done on this kind of occasion. For the whole night, things were peaceful, and guests thoroughly enjoyed themselves. After I returned to the Mu family, I had always been free. No matter from which aspect, it was like this. Pei's Wiru and Father Mu never demanded of me what must be done to be right, only telling me to do whatever was comfortable after coming home. I slept every day until waking up naturally. Anyway, waking up early left nothing to do. Plus, I stayed up late surfing the internet every day. In order to familiarize myself with and understand this world, sleeping a bit late was also justifiable. Nobody in the Mu family would criticize me, but I forgot that now there were a few more people, and they seemed to not like me very much. In the morning, as soon as I went downstairs, I was criticized by someone. "The elders have all gotten up, yet you are fine sleeping until now, old." Madame Mu saw me coming downstairs. Her eyeballs rolled, casting a sidelong glance at me, speaking with great dissatisfaction. "Look at our Zhao Juan. Woke up early to help prepare breakfast. On this point, you should learn from Zhao Juan. At least have a bit of filial piety towards elders." Hearing this, Pei became unhappy. "Mom, there's nothing at home that needs help with. The children can sleep for as long as they want. Besides, it is not late right now. The fourth child hasn't gotten up yet either. Furthermore, filial piety isn't judged by waking up early or late." Pei Zuaro subconsciously defended her son, but didn't know that with her defending like this, the spoken words hurt Mu Xuan's heart. Wasn't this saying that he intentionally woke up early to make breakfast, just to please everyone? I remained unmoved and sat down gracefully, looking at Mu Xuan, saying with a face full of realization, "I've been back for such a long time too. It seems I haven't eaten breakfast prepared by you. Is it because you prepared too little and everyone finished eating it, without leaving any for me? I see you wake up later than me every day. Turns out you always wake up first to make breakfast, and then go back to sleep." Mu Xuan's face flushed with shame. After I came back, he felt uncomfortable in his heart, and under the awkwardness tried to avoid me as much as possible, so he woke up very late. Plus, it happened to be vacation time. Throughout the day, except for going downstairs for 3 meals, he basically stayed in his room the rest of the time. As for breakfast, there were servants at home. He was a young master of the Mu family. How could he cook frequently? Seeing Grandma praising you so much, then the breakfast you make must definitely be very delicious. "Tomorrow I want to taste it," I said with a smile, not forcefully demanding Mu Xuan to make breakfast, but the meaning in the words was self-evident. Old Madame Mu became even more displeased. "There are servants at home. What are you ordering Xiao Xuan around for?" I looked at her in confusion. How is this ordering around? He repeatedly claims to be my older brother. As an older brother, what problem is there in making breakfast for the younger brother? Besides, I do this also wanting to show a bit of filial piety to Grandma, which is why I do so. The people at the dining table, except for Pei, all carried faces like listening to my nonsense. My expression was very serious. This culinary skill is developed through practice. Without practicing, where would good culinary skills come from? Preparing breakfast for Grandma. What if culinary skills are poor and some mistake happens? Grandma is already of such an advanced age. Her body cannot bear being tossed around, saying that I let out another sigh. With a selfless appearance, I am different. I am young and suffered so much hardship previously. I'm used to it, so it's just right to let him practice his skills on me and act as a guinea pig. This time, even Pei Zura's filter shattered. Such shameless words. How did Xiao Chen say them without changing his facial expression? Xuan, moreover, was almost driven to tears by my mockery. Lu Mankus' brows furrowed tightly. You child have a personality that is too competitive. Your grandmother merely said one sentence to you, and you talked back 10 sentences? Aren't you afraid of angering your grandmother? Furthermore, about Xiao Zhuan, a perfectly good matter, was distorted by you. She looked at me with a face full of disapproval. I know you have anger in your heart, feeling that Zhao Xuan enjoyed so many years of fortune and took over your things. But Zhao Zhuan was also still a baby back then. What could he know? He is just as innocent as you. Why do you even have to target him? Zhao Zhuan has a gentle nature. Saying he treats you as a younger brother? Then he definitely treats you as a younger brother. Isn't it good to treat it as having an extra older brother to love you? Why bother? She shook her head, with a face full of disappointment. Pei Zueru was incredibly angry in her heart, forcing herself to endure without breaking out, but her expression obviously turned ugly. Sister-in-law, you misunderstood. Xiao Chen didn't target anyone. He just has too straightforward of a character. Doesn't know how to beat around the bush when speaking. Actually, there is no malice in his heart. Yeah, where would I have any malice? Nor am I targeting him. My attitude towards him is better than towards fourth sister. If you don't believe it, ask her. It's exactly because I know he is also innocent, which is why I didn't let Dad and Mom drive him away. Letting him continue to stay in the Mu family as a young master, isn't this enough? I am almost driven to tears by my own kindness. Have never seen a person as tolerant as me? The expression on my face was innocent and pure. I have already done it to this extent. Yet Aunt still feels I am bullying him. Could it be she wants me to yield my identity to him too? And yield my biological parents to him too? I deliberately placed emphasis on the words biological parents. Lu Manche was severely choked up. What else could she say? Probably because my expression was too genuine. To the extent that Lu Manche couldn't figure out clearly whether my saying these words was intentional or unintentional, old Madame Mu likewise was choked up quite a bit, reflexively wanting to use her elder status to suppress people. But I didn't give her a chance to open her mouth. You also worry that I might bully Mu Zhuan. Hearing Mom and Dad say everyone dotes on him very much? How about doing it this way? From now on, let him live together with Grandma. Anyway, he is not a child right now either. Doesn't need someone to constantly take care of him. Living with Grandma can show more filial piety to Grandma and make breakfast for Grandma every day. I pretended to be cute and tilted my head slightly. This way can both show filial piety to Grandma and not worry about being bullied by me anymore. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, the entire dining table fell silent. Old Madame Mu and Lu Manche glared at me. Pei Zuero didn't know what expression to put on. As for Mu Zhuan, naturally he was afraid. Xiao Chen stopped speaking. Grandma and Aunt don't mean that. They are just too worried about me, but I haven't suffered any grievances. Mom, Dad, and also sisters treat me just as well. Of course, you didn't bully me either. Don't take Grandma and Aunt's words to heart. If he moved to live with Grandma, then what would he be considered? Wouldn't his identity become even more embarrassing? He is a son of the Mu family. Will be for a lifetime. With begging eyes, he looked at the 2 elders. The 2 indeed truly doted on him, and forcefully swallowed back this breath for his sake. The atmosphere at the dining table finally became normal. It was just that everyone ate somewhat tastelessly of course this person didn't include me. I ate very heartily, even eating 1 bowl more than usual. The thickly stewed millet porridge, paired with side dishes, was truly refreshing and appetizing. Seeing me look like this, those 2 elders only felt a burst of fire burning in their chests. On the 3rd day, as soon as the first branch and old Madame Mu left, I urged Mu Zhuan to invite Jiang Yan as a guest. Jiang Yan actually wanted to refuse, but thinking about the matter in the corridor, he made up his mind and came to the Mu family as agreed. Pei Zueru was very warm and welcoming, letting Mu Zhuan accompany him, while the first, however, arrived late. As soon as he saw me, the guilty Jiang Yan immediately became tense, still thinking about how to avoid the Mu family members, to have a proper talk with me, but I didn't play cards according to common sense, and tilted my chin towards Mu Yui and Mu Zhuan. You 2 leave for a moment. I have business to talk about with this Mr. Jiang. Mu Zhuan's face changed color. Jiang Yan is his good friend. Now yet letting this good friend of his leave? Mu Chen, what do you want to do? If Jiang Yan has anything that offended you, just speak the words clearly. You cannot just invite a person here and then bully them. I cast a disdainful glance at MHUA. When having nothing to do, use your brain more. This thing grew not for use as a decoration, much less to make you look a bit taller. The 4 Mu family sisters, the other 3 look quite smart. And also have tact. How come this one is so out of the ordinary? Mu Yue was so angry, opened her mouth wanting to say something more. But I, however, raised my voice and called out, "Mom." Mu Yue shuddered, reflexively closing her mouth tightly. Peizuiru, hearing the call, quickly walked out. "Zhao Chen, what's wrong?" "Mom, I want to take Mu Zhuan's friend to the garden. Is it all right?" Peizuiru didn't find it strange at all, instead saying with a smile, "Go ahead. The sun is shining right now. Don't get yourself sunburnt." Mu Zhuan quickly followed and said, "I'll go along too." He really didn't feel reassured, always feeling that my letting Jiang Yan be a guest had a purpose. I wouldn't give anyone face, directly refusing no need. "We will go and return shortly. Better for you to stay back and accompany her." I glanced at Mu Yue, saying sarcastically, "She specially stayed at home to accompany you, lest others bully you." After speaking, I turned my head and left, nor worrying that Jiang Yan wouldn't follow. Mu Huai's face felt awkward, feeling more and more in her heart that this biological brother is a very scheming one. Look at the words he just said. Wasn't it just poisoning Mom's mind against her? Alluding that she suspected he would bully Zhao Xuan, which was why she stayed at home. The scheming ghost? What are you looking for me for? Jiang Yan looked at me with cautious eyes. After asking, without waiting for my reply, he swiftly said, "I don't know what you want to do." That day in the corridor, I didn't offend you either. Could it be just because I glared at you once? I interrupted his words. "What relation do you have with the one who fell? Before the incident, did you two have contact? Or rather," I slowly turned around and tilted my head slightly, a pair of clean eyes seeming able to see through everything. "Actually, the matter is related to you guys. I am not." Jiang Yan's face changed color drastically, denying with a sharp voice, yet at the bottom of his eyes, a trace of fear and panic couldn't stop revealing itself. "Whether it is nonsense, you know better than anyone else. That was a covered-up accident. She was implicated and lost her life. Say if I go to report the case." "Jiang Yan?" These words have already revealed important information. I spread both hands out. "What evidence do I need? I just need to say it like that. And naturally, someone will look for evidence. Don't know if Mr. Jiang has such a matter spread out? Whether his reputation will be affected? You are threatening me. Don't think that because you are a young master, I will be afraid of you. Compared with Zhao Xuan, what do you even amount to? Do you think you can replace Zhao Xuan? You are dreaming. Zhao Xuan has lived in the Mu family for over a decade. His bond with the family members is something you can't compare to." I looked at him strangely. Why should I compare myself with Mu Zhuan? He is an adopted son. I am the biological son. A biological one going to replace an adopted son? My brain is not sick either. Additionally, let me correct you. I am not threatening you, but reminding you. If you don't want people to know, don't do it unless it's yourself. That was a living human life. You think that once the case is settled, everything will be perfectly fine? I said with profound meaning. After speaking, turned my head and left. Wanting to ask clearly was only to save time, even if I don't speak up. When that girl's resentment is large enough, my identity will also make her find the door her way. Jiang Yan didn't take the words to heart at all. Mu Zhuan wanted to ask me what exactly I said. That made Jiang Yan leave in a furious huff. Whether I really bullied the person? But, looking at that expression of mine, he felt that if he asked the words out, I could only make him look for a crack in the ground to crawl into. I was still pondering how long it would take for the matter to blow up. Didn't expect the speed to be unexpectedly fast. Seeing the matter that blew up on the internet, I felt it was a matter of course again. I watched TV every day and learned quite a lot. In this society, everything is fast. As long as a matter is spread onto the internet, it is more useful than any publicity. I felt this indeed was the fastest way, probably because having encountered it in the mall, Peizuiru, watching the news, also lamented a bit. Originally thinking it was a simple accident, didn't expect such a matter to blow up. If it was like what her parents said, then it was truly too tragic. That girl who fell was only 25. How young? Heard she was even an only daughter. And just went missing like this? No wonder the parents couldn't accept it and insisted on blowing the matter up big. If it were her son, dying without rhyme or reason, she would definitely go crazy too. Thinking this, Peizuiru quickly spat out in her heart. She just found Xiao Chen. The days ahead are still long. Mother and son still have a vast amount of time to get along. The deceased's parents disclosed to the media. Their daughter had a well-behaved and quiet nature, didn't have many friends. The family background was ordinary, normally didn't have any high consumption, different from peers who liked buying. She rarely acquired personal items. The money earned from work was all handed to them for household expenses, without leaving any for herself to spend, normally moving on a 2.1-line route between work and home. The place of the fall, however, was a high-end mall, simply not a place she could consume at. Before leaving home that day, she was a bit abnormal. At that time, they didn't think much about it. Never expected it would turn out like this. As a result, They initially thought it was an accident and only discovered the secret when sorting out her belongings. The daughter had suffered unfair treatment, so they suspect the cause of death wasn't an accident. They want the truth and justice. Xuan's eyes darted around evasively, not daring to look straight at the parents on the TV. His hands resting on his knees were clasped and rubbing each other, his face turning somewhat unnaturally pale. I noticed his face change upon seeing the news, his expression looking very weird. Thinking of his relationship with Jiang, my heart stirred. Suddenly spoke up. What are you acting so flustered for? Do you know the deceased? Or did you do something shady? Xuan seemed to be startled, suddenly raising his head to glare at me, his voice sharply refuting. Xiaochen, what nonsense are you saying? Even if you are extremely dissatisfied with me, you can't just speak such words carelessly. Pei Zueru was stunned for a moment first, then startled by the sharp voice. Xuan, do you know this poor girl? Could it be someone from your classmate's family? This isn't entirely impossible. Xuan attends a private high school. With expensive tuition fees, the school absorbs outstanding students every year. This type usually has an ordinary family background, can't afford the tuition, but has excellent grades. Maybe it's a relative of some classmate. Xuan's face changed slightly again. If you don't have a guilty conscience, what is there you can't say? You and that Mr. Jiang are both very weird. Evasive and guilty when mentioning this matter. It's just short of having related to us written on you. You have seen the news. The matter has already blown up. A single investigation will easily clear things up. It's better to clarify early. To think of a solution, Pei Zueru didn't believe it initially. But looking at her adopted son's expression, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Xuan, Mom, I really didn't. Xuan got anxious. What kind of person am I? Xiaochen is unclear. Could it be, Mom? You are also unclear. I am the son you raised for over a decade. Seeing him put on an aggrieved look again, I wanted to roll my eyes. Stop acting. This is a guilty conscience protesting too much? Even if you didn't do it, it definitely has something to do with you. I would like to see how long they can hold out. I got up and went upstairs. Xuan's face turned red, then pale alternately, extremely angry, and directly shed tears. Mom, you saw it too. Since Zhao Chen returned, I yield at every turn. I know I have no right to compete with him, nor should I compete with him. I also want to get along well with him, to show filial piety to you and Dad together. But he finds me displeasing everywhere. No matter what I do, he has to criticize me. Today, Jiang Yan left in a furious huff. I also don't know what exactly he did. Mom, you tell me. What do I need to do to make it right? Otherwise, I better just move out. Although I am not of age yet, but I feel I can also support myself. You have raised me for so many years, which is already a great kindness to me. I cannot demand anything more. He seemed to want to pour out all the panic, worry, grievance, and dissatisfaction in his heart, covering his face and crying heartbreakingly. Pei Zueru looked on, heartbroken beyond measure. The palms and backs of the hands are all flesh. Both are dear. Xiaochen is biological. Of course she loves him. But Zhao Xuan was raised by her side for over a decade. Not biological yet, just like biological. She wasn't so muddled as to expect the two to truly love each other. As long as they lived in peace with each other, it'd be fine. Besides, Xiaochen also said he doesn't mind keeping Xuan. However, Xiaochun's mouth is indeed too straightforward, not knowing how to be a bit tactful. At home, family members can be accommodating. But what to do outside? Thinking and thinking. Her thoughts strayed. Xuan, crying and complaining. Waited for a long time, but didn't hear comfort. Choked up and slightly lifted his eyes to look, feeling even more angry and aggrieved. Mom is actually zoning out at this time. Now, she was truly heartbroken. Upon returning to my room, I immediately sensed an anomaly. Waved my small hand, and set up a barrier. Come out, after quite a while. Did a blurry figure tremblingly float out? My gaze swept over, and the figure immediately shrank into a corner. Already became a ghost, yet still so timid. No wonder you were bullied by those playboys. I deeply doubted. Such a timid person, even after becoming a ghost, is no better. What could she do? Can she really trigger the destiny? I expressed deep doubt. How did you find your way here? If you don't speak ill, throw you out. The figure was frightened, and quickly said, I am Wen Yimo. A few days ago, I had an accident at the mall. Speaking to this point, her voice became low. It took me quite a few days to accept this fact. Hard to believe, yet have to accept it. That day when I fell down, I guessed I wouldn't survive. Even if I didn't die, I would probably be severely injured. My family couldn't afford the medical expenses. Then it's better to just leave directly. For a moment, I didn't know whether to feel fortunate or resentful. So, what do you want to do? Take revenge. When Yimo was stunned for a moment, take revenge. Can I still take revenge? If you don't take revenge, what are you looking for me for? If you don't want to take revenge, you wouldn't linger in the mortal world. I can't let go of my mom and dad. Mom and dad, I believe you have seen it too. You are their only daughter. Now that you are gone, just like that, they will not let the matter drop. Having a posture of fighting to the bitter end, Wen Yimo was silent for a long time. Before murmuring, they can't fight those people. Listening closely, her voice was even trembling slightly. I seemed to understand a bit. It wasn't that she didn't hate and didn't want revenge, but that she was bullied for too long, and the impact was branded on her soul. Even after becoming a ghost, she was still afraid of people. Reflecting from the side, she had deeply experienced the oppression brought by power. Can you help me? I know you are different. You can definitely help me. Right. She suddenly raised her head and looked at me pleadingly, not knowing what kind of person the boy in front of her is. Why? He can see her? Not only can he see her, but Hayes also not panicked at all. Then he must be special. Feeling some invisible guidance, so he can definitely help. Right. I smiled slightly. How do you want me to help? This question of yours stumped her? Yeah. How to help? She had no idea herself. How to beg someone else? Doesn't she hate it herself? Of course she hates it. It wasn't at all an accidental fall. It was a covered-up dispute. When the accident happened, besides panic and despair, there was also deep resentment. Why treat her like this? Once she couldn't stand seeing playboys bullying people, stepped forward to stop and reprimand them, why did she end up with a wrongful death? She worked at a milk tea shop. Several playboys often came to drink. Later, they caused trouble in the shop. She tried to stop them but suffered insults and threats, really got very angry. Deliberately saying she was recording and if they continued expose them online. Only then were the few deterred, and didn't bully people anymore. Thought it was a small interlude in life. Never expected she provoked demons, and from then on began to be retaliated against. Deliberately isolated and excluded at school, allied with others to spread rumors and defame, making her feel embarrassed. She wanted to quit, but they threatened the boss. Found out her address, alarmed her mom and dad, stuffed her desk full of trash, deliberately destroyed review materials, endless tactics. Thought it would be fine just enduring until they got tired. Didn't expect it would ultimately cost her life. Afterwards, it only exchanged for an accidental fall. The truth was hidden and ignored. Recalling these, her resentment surged. The air in the room fluctuated. The curtains moved. The lampshade tassels swayed, rustling. I want them to taste this feeling. I want them to get the retribution they deserve. I propped my chin. The retribution they deserve. Send them to prison. That isn't hard. When Yimo's inner resentment was ignited, shedding her timidity, becoming gloomy and cold, her face slightly distorted. Prison. Their family won't let them go to prison. Even if they go to prison, it won't be for long. My single life exchanged for a few years of prison disaster. Is my life that cheap? She was unconvinced. Then a life for a life. What do you think? I spoke nonchalantly, as if it was the simplest matter. Making Wen Yimo freeze for a moment, her whole body boiling with resentment, paused. If it can be like this? Of course, that's the best. But can you do it? She asked cautiously. If it can be like this? Of course, that's the best. Why should she be gone? While others can live on as if nothing happened? Is dying just dying in vain? Legal justice might not necessarily offset anything. I smiled slightly. Of course I can. Surprise burst forth in Wen Yimo's eyes. Can you really help me take revenge? If I help you take revenge, can you leave in peace? She nodded, then paused, her face full of desolation and sadness. I can let go of the resentment, but I can't let go of my parents. They only have me as their child. I thought about it. Said, your parents aren't considered that old either. Perhaps they can have another one. Never expected to hear such words. Thinking of her parents' age. There indeed is the possibility of having another child. If it is like this, then I can feel reassured. Then, when will you help me take revenge? What price do I need to pay? My eyes flickered slightly. Smiling profoundly, I said, you don't need to worry. I indeed want to help you for free, but won't let it be something you can't bear. Let's talk about the reward after the matter is concluded. I am no ordinary person. What I want naturally isn't an ordinary thing. When Yimo didn't hesitate at all, nodding, then you just wait a bit. This needs a suitable opportunity. She nodded, remembering something and feeling nervous. Asked, can you help me protect mom and dad? I am a person of the underworld, not a deity in heaven. I manage the affairs of the dead, not managing the living. Seeing me fall silent and not speaking, her eyes turned red. If it can't be done, then forget it. Looking at her pitiful appearance, I said, just rest assured. Your mom and dad probably won't be in danger. The matter has blown up quite big now. If something happens at this time, it would be unmanageable. Mom, am going out for a bit? I said to Pays. Paiswiru was stunned for a moment. Going out? Where are you going? Let me have the driver take you. No need. I will take a car myself. It's hard to handle matters with a driver following. But Zhao Chen hasn't gone out alone since coming back. He is also not familiar with High City. What if he gets lost going out alone? I saw through her worry. Mom, it's fine. I know the way. Besides, when taking a car, I just need to state the address. Not afraid. That still won't do. There are many bad people outside now. How about this? Let your fourth sister accompany you out. Whatever matter you need to handle, just go ahead. You can also have your fourth sister run errands, quickly telling someone to wake up Mu Yui, who is staying in bed. Mu Yui, upon hearing mother's words, flew into a rage. Mom, I am his older sister. I am his little lackey. If you are worried about him, just have the driver follow him. That's all. Why do I have to follow him out? I won't do it. Yelling. She even glared at me. I cast a sidelong glance at her, my expression extremely disdainful. You think I am happy to have you follow? It's Mom who's worried and insists you follow. Mom, look at him. Mu Yue pointed angrily at me. Pei Zuru slapped her hand down with one palm. You have to go even if you are not happy. I myself already said. It's Zhao Chen's older sister accompanying her younger brother out to handle a matter. You have so many complaints. What do you want to do? Pei Zira's face darkened, looking at her severely. Mu Yue was scared back by this look. Her arrogance immediately deflated. The matter is settled like this. Hurry up and eat breakfast. Zhao Chen is about to head out. She aggrievedly went to get ready with tears in her eyes. Where exactly are you going? In the car, Mu Yue asked with a dark face. Having free labor, not using it is a waste. I instructed with peace of mind. Drive forward. I will give you directions. Firmly treating her as a driver, Mu Yue was extremely angry, but also completely helpless. She followed my directions, driving around places. The further she drove, the more unfamiliar it got. The road got narrower and narrower. She herself was dumbfounded. Having lived in High City for so many years, never knew High City had this kind of place. Mu Yue obeyed, parked the car properly, parked outside a dilapidated community. Sitting in the driver's seat, looking outside, deep doubts surged in her heart. All right, you wait for me here. I got out of the car and slammed the car door, throwing down one sentence and left, not giving Mu Yue a chance to ask questions at all. She originally wanted to ask what exactly I was doing, but this attitude of mine was really infuriating. In a fit of pique, simply didn't care anymore. I entered the community very smoothly, without stopping my steps, walked straight towards one of the buildings. Old community. Greening is very poor. The exterior walls are extremely mottled. Doesn't even have an elevator. The stairs also show signs of dilapidation. I walked all the way up. Walked to the 4th floor, turned my steps. Walked towards the left. Reached the 4th floor. Faintly heard crying sounds. If I didn't guess wrong, it came from the Wen family. Standing at the Wen family's door, I reached out and knocked on the door. I need to get an assistant quickly. By my side, I, a dignified young master of the city of wrongful deaths. How did I sink to having to do everything personally? This doesn't match my status as a young master. The sound inside the house paused. Then the sound of footsteps rang out. Soon from behind the door came an inquiry asking who it was. I am Wen Yimo's friend. The room was quiet for a moment. Did it open a crack? Someone looked at me through the crack in the door, seeing I was young. Felt a bit relieved. Are you Xiao Mo's colleague? I nodded. Only then did the person inside open the door to let me in. After entering the house, I didn't waste much breath. I know Wen Yimo was murdered. Wen Yimo's parents weren't old, but aged very quickly after their daughter's accident. Originally still having a head full of black hair, now it was mixed with many silver strands. The wrinkles on their faces also deepened a lot. Their eyes were filled with sadness and pain, as well as suppressed hatred. How do you know? How do you know Xiao Mo was murdered? Do you know something? Tell me quickly, mother. Wen was originally listless. Hearing my words, instantly became agitated, and grabbed my hand. I can see Wen Yimo. I can also help you. Father Wen and Mother Wen were stunned, not understanding the meaning in my words. Their daughter had passed away. What did he mean by saying he could see their daughter? Although, in order to find the truth, they persistently refused to cremate, and placed their daughter in the mortuary. This young man couldn't have run to the mortuary, right? An absurd thought popped up in the couple's minds. I can see your daughter's soul. I can help you fulfill your wish. I opened my mouth and said, Mother Wen's crying paused, looking at me through her tears, her expression somewhat stunned. Their wish, of course, is to catch the murderer who killed their daughter, to make the murderer get the punishment they deserve. Yes, this isn't enough. If it's just sitting in a big prison for a few years, that is far from enough. A few years in a big prison, how can it equate to the life of their Xiao Mo? Whoever killed Xiao Mo, then they should pay a bitter price. Intense hatred surged at the bottom of Mother Wen's eyes. As long as it is what you want, I can help you fulfill it, but you need to pay a bit of a reward. I made my words very clear. Besides merits, I also need to collect the human world's utmost affection, utmost nature, utmost truth, utmost goodness. utmost benevolence, utmost righteousness. The gate of rebirth is the gate leading to a new life. Life means beginning, means hope and joy. Death means ending, means despair and sorrow. And life and death are a cycle. Between the cycle there is also much selfishness and greed, hypocrisy and viciousness. I need to collect these, to purify resentment, to maintain resentment within a balanced range. After hearing my words, Mother Wen didn't hesitate. No matter what you want, as long as you can really help me, I am willing to give you anything. Even if you want my life, it's fine. I smiled. It's not that serious. I took what I knew from Wen Yimo and told the two of them everything. Without the slightest concealment, the couple finished listening and cried loudly in grief again. Seeing this, I only sighed slightly. Partying by life and death is indeed the most difficult thing to accept in the human world. Mother Wen suddenly knelt on the ground while crying and fiercely kowtowed once. I want them to pay the price. I want them to live in remorse for a lifetime. Besides extreme resentment, Mother Wen and Father Wen were also deeply guilty and regretful. Why didn't they discover their daughter's anomaly earlier? If they could have known their daughter's predicament earlier, they would definitely have helped her resign. They could have taken her to move to another place. Father Wen tried his best to restrain himself, but still had tears streaming down his face, tightly covering his face with one hand, unable to hide the grief on his face. Remorse. Me too. I want them to pay the price they deserve. I told Father Wen and Mother Wen to wait for my news and then walked out of the building. Through the car window saw Muyue fell asleep. Even with her mouth half open, one could see how deeply she slept. The corner of my mouth twitched for a while. And this is my sister. Even as a younger sister, I would despise her. Originally wanted to knock on the car window to wake her up, but paused halfway. I was just worrying about how to shake off Mu. Taking her along all the time was also inconvenient. Since she fell asleep, then just let her continue. So I turned my steps. Muyue was still sleeping soundly in the car. Wen Yimo's parents' wish wasn't hard to fulfill, with my ability. Of course, I can give those people a bit of a profound lesson, but this doesn't match the thoughts at the bottom of their hearts. So right now, I still have to expose the truth first. Thinking of what Wen Yimo experienced, even I couldn't stop sighing. If this matter doesn't have a good outcome, who would dare to do good deeds in the future? Truly, public morals are degenerating day by day. This society develops at a flying speed, but human nature didn't get better with the economy. Instead, it became more and more selfish. Perhaps it's a society overflowing with material desires? That stimulated the ugly side of human nature. I thought of my past, like these kids. When I was this age, I was already an indomitable, manly man, able to marry and establish a career, able to uphold the family's honor. My expression froze slightly. A trace of confusion flashed across my face. How long has it been since I thought about the past matters? It's truly been too long. I have already forgotten. I also wasn't a young master from the very beginning. Vaguely remember that before becoming a young master, I was also an ordinary person in the mortal world. It was after death that I entered the city of wrongful deaths. The time is too remote. I have already forgotten myself. How exactly I became the young master of this city of wrongful deaths in the first place? My thoughts flashed by. My figure gradually disappeared. Pedestrians coming and going on the road didn't change expression. Everyone was hurrying along. No one know. Tice, the young boy beside them, suddenly disappeared into thin air. I thought I would finish the matter very quickly, but didn't expect that it dragged on until very late. Getting busy? I even forgot about Muyue. After finishing the matter, I went straight back. As soon as I entered the door, I sensed the living room atmosphere was wrong, very stiff and frozen. Before I could speak, I was hugged by Peizu, her voice full of worry. You finally came back, scared Mom to death. Mom thought something happened to you? Father Mu also had a face full of anxiety. Seeing me, he obviously let out a sigh of relief, repeatedly saying, "It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back." Really scared him to death. Thought this son ran away secretly by himself? I blinked, a beat late remembering something. Just as I was about to open my mouth to explain, Mu Yue, who was scolded for a whole night, got anxious. Furious all day, she roared at me loudly. Mu Chen, are you sick? Couldn't you say a word if you were going somewhere? Do you know we thought something happened to you? Do you know we looked for you for a whole day? I shrank my shoulders, being roared at by her. Indeed, feeling a bit guilty. You shut up. Peizuru hugged me, turned around and glared fiercely at her fourth daughter. It must be you who made Xiao Chen unhappy. That's why he left, without saying a word. You normally just like to target Xiao Chen. How many times have I told you, Xiao Chen is your biological brother? Biological brother Mu Yue was driven by her mother's unreasonable words. So angry she felt like she was almost going to ascend to heaven. Mom, can you be reasonable, please? I literally didn't do anything today. Mu Yue clamored loudly. Seeing the two were about to start arguing, I hurriedly tried to stop them. Mom, don't be angry. Listen to my explanation. Today's matter really has nothing to do with fourth sister. She indeed didn't do anything, didn't even argue with me. Then why did you leave her behind and go off by yourself? You haven't been here for long. Not familiar enough with this city. Without someone following by your side, it's easy to get lost. The key is that Xiao Chen also doesn't really know how to use a smartphone. If he gets lost, he doesn't even know how to use navigation, I answered honestly. I went to handle business. Let fourth sister wait for me in the car. I came back after finishing my business and saw she fell asleep. So I thought she might have woken up too early. Didn't get enough sleep, so I thought to let her sleep a bit more. This explanation you might as well not say. Did she do it on purpose? I didn't take her fierce gaze to heart at all. Continued to say honestly, and then I left. I thought I would finish the business very quickly and come back. Maybe she wouldn't even be awake when I got back. Didn't expect the time exceeded the estimate. Dragged on until now. I didn't really want Mu Yue to be scolded. I also didn't expect things would develop like this. Then why didn't you pick up the phone all along? Mu Yue continued to question. I reached my hand into the cloth bag to rummage, pulled out a smartphone, looked left and right. With a face full of confusion, I didn't hear the phone ring. This phone was set up for me by Pays, even exhorted me before going out today. But I really didn't hear a sound. Mu Yue snatched the phone, lit up the screen, instantly laughed out of anger, held the phone right in front of my face. Don't you know how to look? Your phone is set to silent. I glanced at the phone, blinked innocently. I indeed don't know how to look. I haven't used a smartphone before. How would I know a phone can be made to not make a sound? Mu Yue still wanted to continue making things difficult. Pays Wiru curled her fingers, forcefully wrapped her, hurting her so much she covered her forehead, crying out in pain. If it wasn't for you falling asleep in the car, would he be considerate and not want to wake you up to go handle business by himself? So, ultimately, it's all your fault. Asked you to help, yet you yourself slept so soundly in the car. Your allowance for this month is deducted, Pays Wiru directly announced. What? Deducting my allowance? Only 3 days have passed this month. After speaking, Pays Wiru looked at the other children again and opened her mouth to warn them. Whoever dares to secretly subsidize her next month, I'll deduct theirs. As for Mu wanting, she cast a sidelong glance at her eldest daughter. If you dare to give Yue money, I will immediately arrange blind dates for you. Mu Wanting's face changed. Quickly replied solemnly, Mom, rest assured, I will also supervise the others. Not letting them subsidize fourth sister, eldest sister, Mu Yue wailed. Mu Wanting looked at her with helplessness and pity. Fourth sister don't. Blame eldest sister for being cruel. Better a dead fellow Taoist than a dead poor Taoist. Better you than me. Fourth sister, where did you and Xiao Chen go today? Downstairs, Mu Xuan didn't dare to go against Pays. After returning to their respective rooms, he sneaked out again. To find Mu Yue, after comforting her a bit, he asked as if curious. When mentioning me, Mu Yue had a belly full of fire. This biological brother is simply here to suppress her, is here to collect debts. But facing Mu Xuan, she still patiently recounted it once. But later, where I went, what I did, she didn't know anymore. Mu Xuan listened and furrowed his brows. Not to mention Mu Yue. He also didn't know what kind of place that was. People like them normally go in and out of high-end places. That kind of dilapidated place, of course, they wouldn't go to. Even less go to. Understand it. He frowned and pondered for a bit. Didn't think of anything. Had to give up. After returning to his room, didn't know why he always couldn't let go of this matter. Jiang happened to call and they chatted for a bit. He remembered the matter of his good friend coming to the house and couldn't help but mutter a few words to his good friend. Didn't expect Jiang to cry out in surprise upon hearing it. Did he go to Wen Yimo's house? The name Wen Yimo dropped down. Mu Xuan couldn't help but lose his focus. The hand holding the phone tightened. What is he doing going to Wen Yimo's house? He doesn't know Wen Yimo. Jiang gritted his teeth. Had no choice but to speak out about the encounter that day. Mu Xuan listened, inhaled sharply. His hands and feet became somewhat weak. He didn't expect that Jiang was actually also present that day. Did you guys? Mu Xuan felt his throat becoming somewhat tight. After asking this, his heart was in his throat. His brain started thinking rapidly. If he really got involved with this matter, then what should be done? Although he wasn't present that day, but now, those bullying incidents had already been reported by her parents. If they investigated deeply, but quickly he calmed down again, continuously comforting himself in his heart. He didn't bully Wen Yimo. At most, he just... Mu Xuan rapidly recalled the things he had done. Did he leave any obvious flaws? Or handles for people to grasp? Xuan, are you listening to me? Jiang talked for a long time but didn't hear a reply. Called out strangely. Mu Xuan came back to his senses, steadied his emotions, said listening Ion. What do you plan to do about this matter? When Yimo's mom and dad seemed to not plan on letting it go, if they, Jiang swiftly interrupted his words, it will be fine. Whether it's the school or our parents. Neither hopes it blows up big. In the end, at most, pull a few people out to properly admit fault, apologize to them, and compensate with some money. That's all. Speaking of which, it was all done by those college students. The few of us didn't do anything, not to mention their respective parents. The school also wants to save face. Xuan furrowed his brows tightly, always feeling that the matter wasn't that simple. Regarding the mall's surveillance, Jiang wasn't worried at all. Already had someone clear it long ago. No one will find out. His dad has a good relationship with the mall owner. Clearing the surveillance is just a matter of a phone call, even without this layer of relationship. He believed no one would dare to offend their Jiang family either. Right now, I'm just worried that Mu Chen knows something. That day when I bumped into him in the corridor in a panic, the way he looked at me, and also that day when he invited me to your house. Those words he said, he seemed to be certain of something. This is the reason why Jiang has been restless all along. Even facing Jiang didn't dare to say too much. With Jiang saying this, Xuan couldn't help but think of when seeing the news that day. Those words I said to him, his handsome face instantly turned pale. I might have really seen who did the bad deed. Even if I didn't see clearly who it was, I must have definitely seen them bullying people. If he spoke this matter out, thinking of this consequence, Xuan couldn't sit still anymore. He forced himself to calm down. Mu Chen is very likely to have really seen something. That day he even asked me if I participated in this matter concerning Wen Yimo, but he doesn't seem to have mentioned it to my mom and dad. You hurry and find a way to tell the others. Tell them to look out for themselves. Xuan's words made Jiang even more panicked. Hurriedly ended the call with him, turned around and called his usual buddies. Xuan gritted his teeth tightly. Thinking of the previous matter, couldn't help but feel a bit regretful. When Yimo helped that poor wretch, helping could only help for a moment, couldn't help for a lifetime. Why did they insist on going against her? At that time he just felt that posture. That appearance was too piercing to the eyes, as if she was a righteous person, while they were like demons, which was why he said a few words to instigate his classmates. Originally just wanted to teach her a lesson, so that she wouldn't meddle in other people's business in the future, but he really didn't expect the matter would develop to such an extent today. Thinking and thinking, he secretly blamed those people again, letting them retaliate a little bit, but look at them. They even got addicted. Keep picking on Wen Yimo without letting go. Isn't this just picking the soft persimmon to squeeze? Now look, the persimmon was squeezed until it exploded. And also when back then, if it wasn't for her saying she recorded a video and would expose them, he wouldn't have realized. Xuan started pondering my matter, feeling I might have seen the mall incident, but it's impossible to know the whole context of the matter. I don't even know how to use a smartphone. What could I know? The idea is very beautiful. Reality is very cruel. On the third day, the internet was overwhelmingly covered with news. What made him even more panicked and terrified was those surveillance videos that had originally been deleted long ago were actually all exposed together by someone. Even the previous surveillance of making things difficult for and humiliating when Yi was also dug out. He came downstairs and saw that, sure enough, I was sitting on the sofa again, staring at the TV watching, and the news was exactly about this matter. Seeing the familiar images inside, he almost couldn't catch his breath. Both legs went weak. Xuan's heart was just feeling terrified and uneasy. When Peizuiru walked over, seeing him leaning against the handrail with a pale face, his expression somewhat wrong, hurriedly opened her mouth to ask Xuan, "What's wrong? Why does your face look a bit pale? Are you sick?" Her voice startled me. I turned my head and looked over, and met Xuan's panicked gaze. Thinking of something, I smiled profoundly. "Mom is asking you a question." Xuan's lips trembled. "Mom, I'm fine." Peizuiru gave him a weird look. After seeing the news I was watching, asked with concern, "Xiao Chen, you seem to pay a lot of attention to this news. Why is that?" I answered extremely straightforwardly. "Weren't you and Dad planning to let me go study here? Then I definitely have to understand more about the people and matters related to this school." Peizura's whole body shook. Only then did she suddenly think of a problem, right? The students of this school could do such things, even daring to bully people outside the school. Then, what about the classmates inside the school? Xiao Chen going to such a school to study? This, in case? Peizuiru didn't even dare to think further. She disregarded that Father Mu had just gone out and immediately went to make a phone call. "No, you can't go to this school to study. And Xuan, you also have to transfer schools. Studying in such a school, safety can't even be guaranteed. What's the point of studying? It'll change schools for you guys." Xuan was dumbfounded. Why suddenly talk about changing schools? He never thought about changing schools. He is already familiar with this current school. Here he has his friends and social circle. Suddenly changing to another one? Furthermore, they are halfway through their senior year. Changing schools at this time? Does he still want to take the college entrance exam? Xuan wanted to speak up and say something, but also knew that in high probability he couldn't dissuade his mother. So he cast his gaze upon me, hoping I could speak up and persuade. Regarding which school to study at, I am indifferent to it. So I didn't even cast a glance at him from the corner of my eye. Xuan had no choice but to watch helplessly as his mother made the call. After the video of the Wen Yimo incident blew up, the handling by all parties was also rapid. The school immediately stepped forward to apologize, promising to strengthen students' moral education. The milk tea shop owner also cried bitterly. Most of the involved students stepped forward to apologize, tears and snot flowing across their faces in front of the camera, putting on an appearance of endless remorse. When Yimo gnashed her teeth in my room, looking at the apologizing people in the video, they are not sincere at all. They don't think they are wrong. I nodded slightly. Yeah, most people aren't sincerely admitting their fault, let alone any remorse. If this matter hadn't been exposed, if the people on the internet hadn't reacted strongly, chasing for an explanation and condemning, if the public opinion hadn't gotten so big, they and their parents wouldn't apologize. Even less would they take this matter to heart. Remorse. For an ordinary person who is already dead, dead is dead. What else is there to talk about? Others can't see it, but I can see it. They saying these words. On the surface, remorseful and sincere, but at the bottom of their eyes, revealing indifference, even irritation. Resentment, of course, resentment towards those forcing them. How embarrassing this is for them. To them, when Yimo's life can't compare to their face, pride. When Yimo was full of grief and indignation while alive, and also deep bewilderment and incomprehension. She truly didn't understand what exactly she did wrong. She was kind and righteous. Was that wrong? She was merely helping out of good intentions, yet was ostracized for no reason by them. Those people relying on their family background to exert pressure destroyed her peaceful life. That day when the dispute arose in the mall, she accidentally fell from upstairs. With a bang, everything ended. Now they say they know they were wrong, begging everyone to give them a chance. But who will give her a chance? They didn't give her a chance back then. The more Wen Yimo's suppressed resentment was thought of, the more it trended towards being uncontrollable. The room temperature instantly dropped a lot. Gusts of gloomy wind, blowing things to sway chaotically. I looked up at the swaying chandelier, hurriedly spoke up to soothe her emotions. He'll let you go vent your anger personally. As if a pause button was pressed, the commotion in the room stopped immediately. Let me go vent personally. No, I can't get close to them. When Yimo frowned, of course she also wanted to take revenge herself, but for some unknown reason, couldn't get close. Could only watch from afar. Once getting too close, she would be blocked. Otherwise, she would have torn them apart by hand long ago. You don't have a way. Doesn't mean I don't have a way. They did things against their conscience. A ghost knocking on the door at midnight isn't strange either. I narrated with a calm face. Probably truly having a guilty conscience like a thief. After, when Yimo died, several of them were indeed frightened and put on amulets. Especially the one who caused her to fall, although quickly not taking it seriously anymore. But after all, still having some guilty conscience, wearing a consecrated jade pendant on the body. When Yimo had a gentle personality while alive, impossible to instantly become a malicious ghost after death. So having no way to get close to those few people also isn't a strange thing. But these are useless to me. When Yimo was immediately revived with full health, if possible, of course, that's the best. But there is one point you must remember. You cannot directly take action to hurt people. Sometimes death is not revenge, but a kind of release. If you bear the burden of a human life, you won't be able to smoothly reincarnate. I exhorted with extreme seriousness. When Yimo is a person, while alive, also liked helping others. As a result, unfortunately, encountered an accident. If there hadn't been an accident, she would have a good next life. But if she created killing karma, then the situation would be completely different. No need to, for the sake of these evil people, ruin her own happy next life. When Yimo bit her lip, somewhat unwilling, after a while, she nodded. All right, I won't harm their lives. I want them to live in shadows. I struck out a glowing talisman, slowly landing on Wen Yimo, and quickly disappeared from sight. Before Wen Yimo could react, felt that something was injected into her soul. Like being instantly filled with power. Go. You can't eat hot tofu if you are impatient. Haste makes waste. Take it slowly if you encounter an unsolvable matter. Call out to me, and I will come to save you. When Yimo looked at me with emotion, instantly tears. There are many bad people in this world, seeing she's easy to bully, exerting pressure for no reason. But there are also many good people, like the people speaking up for her on the internet, just like me. not related by blood or friendship, yet still willing to spare no effort to help her. Since I said she could go vent, Wen Yimo didn't want to stay for another moment, quickly disappeared in my room. From her fall to the matter's exposure was just a short span of a few days. At first that person was indeed quite panicked. After all, it cost a human life. But this kind of panic quickly faded and turned into indifference. People born into power and wealth, the environment they lived in and education received since childhood, extremely easily make them develop a false perception. Feeling they are superior to others, ordinary people are naturally lower-class people. There is nothing money can't solve. What money can't solve, there is still power. Jiang isn't the person who caused the fall. But that day in the mall, he also participated in the matter of excluding Wen Yimo. Jiang indeed didn't have a good time these few days. Had just learned the news from Xuan's mouth. Before he even had time to do anything, it was already out of control. Only then did he tell the matter. Naturally, his mom and dad scolded him severely. However, his heart settled down again. Although mom and dad scolded him, they absolutely wouldn't leave him alone. With their Jiang family's power, wanting to extricate him from this matter, that is a piece of cake. So Jiang isn't worried now either, even thinking that at worst he'll just transfer schools. There are still many good schools in High City, not afraid at all of having no school to attend. He sat on the bed, leaning against the headboard, watching the variety show on his phone intently, bursting into loud laughter from time to time, showing not a trace of being affected by the matter. When Yimo floated into his room, and this was exactly the scene she saw, the anger in her heart shot straight to the top of her head. See, these people simply don't have the slightest remorse. They simply won't mend their ways. People who are not as gentle as them, in their eyes, are even worse than cats and dogs. When Yimo's anger plus resentment peaked, the crystal chandelier in Jiang's room immediately began to shake. Also flickered a few times, emitting a few sizzling sounds, as if the chandelier had a problem. Jiang was startled by the sudden occurrence. Looked up at the chandelier on the ceiling, couldn't help but mutter, "What's going on? Is the light broken?" He stared at it for a while. The chandelier returned to normal, so he didn't mind it. But he had just brought his attention back to the phone. The light in the room started flickering again. Vaguely hearing the sizzling sound of electric current, he still didn't think much, pursed his lips and got out of bed to test the light switch. Testing it like this actually broke out in a cold sweat. The switch completely lost its function. He didn't turn it off, but it turned off by itself. He didn't turn the light on, but it turned on by itself again. Moreover, he clearly had the windows closed. Yet the room felt as if wind was blowing in. He even felt a chill. Don't know how he suddenly thought of Wen Yimo. Instantly his face changed reflexively, turned around wanting to open the door and go out. But no matter how hard he tried, the originally fine door absolutely wouldn't open. Open the door, open the door. Someone come quickly. Save me quickly. Someone come quickly. Jiang couldn't suppress his inner fear, screamed out loud. His scream was truly too terrifying, and it was late at night, scaring the other people in the Jiang family villa, so much that their hearts accelerated sharply. Panicking, they ran towards his room. Father Jiang slapped the door hard outside. Jiang, what happened? Open the door. What are you doing in the room? Can't open it? There's a ghost. Come save me quickly. Jiang cried out with a trembling voice, continuously slapping the door. The fear in his voice transmitted through the door, clearly reaching the ears of the people outside the door. Nonsense. Calm down a bit. Where are there ghosts in this world? Don't scare yourself. Is the door lock jammed? You calm down first and take a look. Dad will have someone find the key. As Father Jiang spoke, he exchanged a glance with Mother Jiang. Couldn't help but think of the recently occurring matter. The Jiang parents' faces looked somewhat bad, feeling both angry and heartbroken for their son. 80% chance he had a guilty conscience ghost in his heart, and so scared himself. Fortunately, the Jiang family lived in a detached villa, and the distance from each other wasn't close either. Otherwise, with him yelling like this, the people in the entire villa area would hear it. The servant quickly brought the key, only no matter how the key was turned, it wouldn't open. Jiang in the room screamed constantly, accompanied by bursts of crackling sounds, like the sound of lamps shattering. Following a final loud crash, the door that couldn't be opened all along opened. The Jiang family members quickly pushed the door and entered. What greeted their eyes was a mess. In the originally luxuriously decorated room, decorations were scattered in all directions. The bedside lamp's lampshade was hanging askew. The hanging curtains were an utter mess. The crystal chandelier on the ceiling had fallen down, shards scattered everywhere. A corner of the carpet was also flipped up. The Jiang family members were all dumbfounded. Taking a closer look, Jiang was lying unconscious behind the door, his forehead constantly oozing cold sweat. Everyone hastily carried him away, and then hurriedly called a doctor. The doctor was very puzzled after diagnosing for a while. Young Master Jiang seems to have suffered an extreme fright. Did he experience something terrifying? The Jiang family members' faces became wrong. Father Jiang forced a twitch of his mouth. To be honest, we are also not quite clear. This child was in his own room. We thought he was asleep. Who knew? Went over to check after hearing his scream and found he had already fainted. What could they say? Say their son did something against his conscience and scared himself. Say he saw a ghost. He might not want face, but the Jiang family still wants face. The doctor didn't think much. He is fine. However, the wound on his forehead is somewhat severe. I'm just afraid it might leave a scar later. Hearing this, the Jiang family members' faces instantly changed. After the doctor left, Zheng Yan quickly woke up, but he was obviously terrified. Before he was fully awake, he fell into a terrible nightmare. No, go away. It wasn't me. I didn't harm you. I wasn't the one who pushed you downstairs. Go away, Dante. Come looking for me. His eyes were still tightly closed, but his hands kept flailing and struggling, a face full of fear and extreme terror. Mother Jiang, after hearing his words clearly, her face changed. Zhang Yan, wake up quickly. It's fine. You're having a nightmare. Wake up quickly. She panicked and reached out to pat her son's cheeks, but there was no reaction at all. Finally, she ruthlessly slapped him. Only then did she finally wake him up. Zhang Yan opened his eyes. Seeing his mother, he burst into loud tears and immediately threw himself into Mother Jiang's arms, tightly clutching the clothes on her body. Shivering all over, "Mom, there's a ghost. I saw it. It's Wen Yimo. She came back to settle scores with me. She said I killed her. Wanted me to pay with my life? I said I didn't. She didn't believe me and wanted to strangle me. He never knew there were really ghosts in the world." Seeing clearly what happened in the room, that simply couldn't be explained by common sense, and he really saw it. Wearing the exact same clothes from that day, it was really Wen Yimo's ghost. Zhang Yan, you are confused. Where are there ghosts in the world? You are scaring yourself. Don't overthink it. You don't need to worry about that matter. Nothing will happen. Our family can handle it. No one can hurt you. Be good. Don't overthink. The matter will pass in a few days. Mother Jiang's face looked terrible. In her heart, she was also a bit terrified by what he said, but still steadily hugged him to comfort him, probably feeling safe in his mother's arms. His emotions slowly calmed down. Mother Jiang, in order to completely convince him, half persuaded, half forced, pulled him to go look. The room had already been cleaned by servants. Not as messy as before. Look, it's just the chandelier wasn't installed well and fell. As for those things you said, it's because you didn't close the window properly and left a gap. Didn't you notice the wind was strong today? The wind blowing in can naturally move things. And to think you are an educated person, Mother Jiang said to him in a deep voice, and reached out to poke his forehead. Mother Jiang's face was flawless. Her expression couldn't be more natural, so much so that Zhang Yan began to waver, doubting whether he thought too much, and became easily frightened, scaring himself. Stop scaring yourself. Tonight you just sleep in the guest room first. Tomorrow, I'll have someone come to clean up. The crystal chandelier won't be installed. It's too dangerous. Zhang Yan hesitantly was led back to the guest room. Zhang Yan, what nonsense are you saying? Did you watch horror movies and so got a psychological suggestion, which is why you think there are ghosts? Xuan didn't expect his friend calling him over would be to say such absurd things. He saw Wen Yimo's ghost. How could this be possible? In just a short night, Zhang Yan became listless and became somewhat neurotic. He panicked and looked left and right. Nervously lowered his voice. No, Xuan, it's real. Everything I said is true. Last night, I really saw her ghost. She was right in my room and made my room a total mess. She said I killed her and wanted to settle scores with me. Later, I fell asleep. The blanket suddenly floated in midair. I saw it. With my own eyes, Zhang Yan's eyes were filled with panic and unease. Talking about last night's events, his scalp tightened. Last night, he was persuaded by his mother. After no movement in the guest room for a long time, he went to sleep at ease. But who knew he felt cold while sleeping? Obviously covered with a thick duvet, and High City's temperature isn't considered low. Later, he really couldn't bear it. Woke up from the cold, opened his eyes and saw the blanket covering his body was actually floating in midair. He instinctively let out a scream, but this time no one came over. The scream seemed to be isolated by something. No matter how he screamed, no one came. Scared him so much he shrank directly under the bed. But it was of no use at all. Wen Yimo's voice also echoed in the room, like it came from hell. He didn't even know how he survived it. Zhang Yan had dark circles under his eyes. His eyes were full of fear and uncertainty, extremely tense. The slightest unusual noise could scare him away. Xuan frowned tightly, feeling his friend's words were impossible. But, looking at him, he didn't seem to be lying. For a moment, Xuan also couldn't make up his mind. Just as he was hesitating, Jiang Yan stared at him with a strange look and spoke faintly. Zhao Xuan, when Yimo came to find me and let me go, then she'll won't let you go either. Mu Zhuan's heart suddenly skipped a beat, reprimanded in a low voice and refuted him. Jiang Yan, are you crazy? There are absolutely no ghosts in this world. Snap out of it. Besides, her accident has nothing to do with you, and even less to do with me. Jiang Yan heard this. His expression blurred for a moment, muttering to himself, yeah, I wasn't the one who caused her to fall. Why is she coming for me? That day, he merely came up with an idea and didn't force them to do it. If anyone is to blame, it's her own carelessness. She's already dead. Why is she coming to scare him? Thinking and thinking. Jiang Yan's courage fueled his evil intentions. His neurotic eyes became vicious. Carrying a trace of resolute ruthlessness, fine, became a ghost to scare me, right? Then I will go hire someone to catch her and make her soul dissipate. Unable to even be a ghost? After making up his mind, Jiang Yan couldn't sit still for a second. Threw down a sentence and hurried away. It was Jiang Yan thinking too beautifully. The Jiang family didn't believe him at all. Feeling he had a major psychological problem, Mother Jiang could only persuade and comfort him time and again, but didn't mention a word about hiring someone to perform an exorcism, although the upper class cares about feng shui and will also hire masters to help arrange it. But that is just to gather wealth and add luck. Ghosts and such are pure nonsense. Just as Jiang Yan became more and more anxious, another terrible thing happened, completely destroying Jiang Yan's sanity, even making Mu Zhuan so scared he fell ill. The classmate who led the bullying that day suddenly fell severely ill and was sent to the emergency room overnight. Although saved, but suffered a complete mental breakdown, huddling on the hospital bed all day, neurotically muttering the 3 words, I was wrong. The parents cried their hearts out, insisting that someone killed their daughter. Insisting it was Wen Yimo's parents doing, but investigation found this was absolutely impossible. Father Wen and Mother Wen lived far from their home. A direct drive takes an hour, and they had an alibi. Had never been to this area. There were no traces of outsiders entering the house. The alarm system was intact. Wen Yimo was just an ordinary worker, yet lost her life accidentally, causing a huge reaction. Enough to become one of the hottest topics involving the city's wealth gap issue. The topic became even hotter. The parents of the involved rich kids wanted to spend money. Every time they spent money to remove, the trending search would immediately bounce back and rank even higher, and their information was exposed, scaring them so much they had to give up and play dead. So, although a few days had passed, people on the internet kept discussing this matter. Now that involved classmate died, the news immediately spread out. Compared to the pity and sympathy for Wen Yimo, there was absolutely no goodwill towards that classmate. After all, people have sharp eyes. This is completely getting what she deserved. She indirectly harmed someone. Now, a life for a life. Why should she just admit a mistake and continue? Exactly, so young yet so cold-blooded. When Yimo's spirit in heaven can rest in peace? When Yimo cried uncontrollably, I sat quietly to the side watching her cry, neither persuading nor making a sound. All right, be comforted. Now your wish is considered fulfilled. It's time to set off. The person who caused you to fall was scared to death. When Yimo didn't actually take action, being scared to death was because of a guilty conscience. An open and magnanimous person naturally wouldn't be afraid. With a guilty conscience, everything looks like a ghost. It's not good for Wen Yimo to stay in the human world for too long. She slowly stopped crying, raised her face and looked at me quietly. Asked in a low voice with a pleading face, "Can I go see my parents?" I looked at her and firmly refused. No need. Your parents have already gotten through it now. If you go see them again, it's equivalent to reopening the wound. Making them bleed again? When Yimo was stunned for a moment, lowered her eyes and understood. That is also the logic. But I can let you send a dream. Go say goodbye to your parents in a dream. When Yimo was happy and extremely grateful, thank you, I spoke out straightforwardly, just taking what we need. When Yimo knew I helped her for a reward, just like I said, taking what we need, I helped her punish the evil people. Dissolve the huge resentment in her heart. Her parents won't have to face the powerful alone. Risking revenge at any time, she can leave in peace. Father Wen and Mother Wen slept deeply this night. This was since their daughter's accident. The first time they slept so peacefully. In their dream, they saw their own daughter. Still that well-behaved appearance from when she was alive, smiling brightly, telling them she is leaving, telling them to take good care of themselves in the future. Finally, she also said she got a master's help to vent her anger. The couple didn't know why, but thought of that boy who said he was their daughter's friend. They urgently questioned their daughter, but the daughter didn't say anything, just smiled, said a reluctant goodbye, and finally disappeared in the dream. In their sleep, tears slid down the couple's eyes. Knowing that their daughter is truly gone this time, Perhaps there really is a beautiful next life. Their daughter will definitely have a good next life. She will grow up safely and soundly, making up for all the regrets in this life. Although their daughter didn't personally admit it, but they felt the master she spoke of was that young boy who came to the house that day, meaning he is absolutely not an ordinary person. The couple woke up thinking how to thank me, yet I appeared in their house again. Seeing me, they immediately wanted to kneel, thanking me for helping their daughter fulfill her wish. I reached out and stopped them. Do you still remember what I said? My helping you requires a reward. Now is the time for me to claim my reward. Are you willing to give it? Willing, we are willing. As long as it's something we have, we are willing to give. The couple spoke extremely sincerely. I saw kindness in their eyes, smiled slightly, and nodded. All right, now close your eyes. Silently recite the biggest reward you can give me. The couple glanced at each other. Without asking anything more or hesitating, slowly closed their eyes, with incomparable devotion in their hearts. After a while, I saw from the top of their heads, a pure golden light slowly rose. I revealed a satisfied smile. This is the merit they have accumulated. The purer the light, the more sincere the gratitude represents. What they are willing to give is inevitably the greatest. This is also the final reward I ask for. I took out an exquisite lucky bag, gently waved my small hand. The 2 streaks of golden light drilled into the lucky bag in my hand. After tying the string, I said in a relaxed tone, "All right, I have received the reward you gave. You are all kind and good people, because you have a kind heart. Doing good and accumulating virtue, that's why when Yimo encountered me, the couple was stunned for a moment. Mother Wen couldn't help blurting out, if it's like this, then why did our daughter still?" I looked at her quietly. When Yimo was destined to have a tribulation in her fate, although she died young in this life. But because you did good and accumulated virtue, not only can she reincarnate smoothly, the family she is born into next will be even better. She will also grow up safely as you wish, marry and have children, and then die of old age in happiness. Is this true? Mother Wen's eyes brightened slightly. Of course, I never lie. That's good. That's good. Mother Wen couldn't help choking up. Before leaving, I originally wanted to say something, but the words reached my mouth and I swallowed them back. Feeling there was no need to make unnecessary moves, Father Wen and Mother Wen have done good and accumulated virtue long term. Lost a truly loved child. Ultimately, they will also gain a child. When Yimo left, making people suffer, but it also means another kind of new life. I returned home and happened to see Dr. Song. Seeing the doctor, I raised my eyebrows. Xuan fell ill and was bedridden. Changed several doctors, without any improvement, making the Mu family members extremely anxious. Of course, this definitely didn't include me. Peizora's brows were deeply furrowed. Walking down and seeing me, her brows relaxed a bit. Xiaochen is back. Is the business you needed to handle done? If there is anything you must remember to tell Mom, don't bottle it up alone. Mom, my business is already done. Smoothly. That's good. Peizuiru nodded gently. Her eyes dyed with deep sorrow. Now Xiao Xuan is sick. Zhao Chen cannot have anything else happen to him. Don't know what's wrong with Xiao Xuan. Perfectly fine and suddenly got sick. Went to the hospital for checks, and there was no problem. Changed several doctors, took medicine and got injections. Just don't see any improvement. It's worrying people to death. Mom, what did the doctor say? Seeing me take the initiative to care about Mu Xuan, Peizuiru seemed a bit happy. Feeling I am cold on the outside, but warm inside. Caring for my brother? Still the same? Saying he has pent-up depression in his heart. But how is this possible? Zhao Xuan is a child. What depression could he have to the point that it's so severe he falls ill? I think these doctors are all unskilled in medicine. If it were when Zhao Xuan had just learned of his background that it was like this, she would have believed it. It's been over a month since the matter. He was perfectly fine before. Suddenly falling ill is obviously not this reason. But asking Xiao Xuan, he also can't say why. I smiled profoundly. Perhaps the doctor is right. He might have some heart disease, psychological illness. Isn't there a saying, heart disease needs heart medicine to cure? Peizuiru was instantly stunned for a moment. Heart disease, but where would Zhao Xuan get a heart disease? I smiled extremely innocently and harmlessly. Then we have to ask what he has done. Peizuiru looked at her son suspiciously. Zhao Chen, do you know something? I didn't really want to bother with Mu Xuan. Whatever happens to him has nothing to do with me. But him falling ill at home like this turned the whole house upside down. Mom and Dad also became extremely worried. Look at my mom's well-maintained eyes. They even developed fine lines from worrying. I paused and said softly, has Mom seen the news on the internet? It's about that incident we encountered going to the mall. Peizuiru of course remembered this matter and had always been paying attention to the progress. After all, the matter blew up quite big. But isn't this matter finished being handled? That girl accidentally slipped. The mall's surveillance was exposed after the murderers were scared to death. Public opinion was in an uproar. She also knows the parents of those children. Relationships are average. Didn't expect it to be like this. Now even their companies are affected. Heard they are already preparing to move away. She also sighed with emotion after understanding clearly. But what does this have to do with Zhao Xuan? I said casually. Jiang Yan's situation is more serious than Mu Zhuan's right now. Screaming all day that he saw the female employee's ghost. That day at the mall, Jiang Yan was also among them. It's just that he was lucky, hiding in the back so his figure wasn't really captured. So once that classmate died, he himself was also scared half to death. Pei Zura's heart jolted fiercely. After understanding the meaning, her eyes widened in shock, her face full of an expression of disbelief. I didn't directly say Mu Zhuan participated, but Pei Zuru would judge for herself. Jiang Yan and Mu Zhuan are very good friends. The two are in the same school and same class. What kind of vile things Jiang Yan did? Did Mu Zhuan really know nothing at all? How could this be possible? Pei Zuru obviously also understood this point, so her face immediately turned ugly. I stopped when appropriate, and didn't say more. At night, after Father Mu came back from work, Pei Zuru told him about this matter. He was also greatly shocked after listening. After all, in his long-held impression, Xiao Xuan had always been well-behaved and sensible. How could he do such a thing? But thinking of his abnormal behavior these past few days, Father Mu's heart sank again. The two came to Mu Zhuan's room. Seeing them walk in, Mu Zhuan forced himself to sit up from the bed. Mom, Dad, why did you come over? Is there something the matter? Mu Zhuan's spirit is very poor now. His face is unnaturally pale. His eyes are filled with bloodshot veins. His look exhausted. Having to force himself to hold on doesn't look like someone who has been sick for a few days, but rather like someone who has been sick for a long time. Father Mu sat down, his expression extremely serious. Looking at him severely, Zhao Xuan, we have something to ask you. You must answer honestly. Mu Zhuan's heart skipped a beat. Subconsciously glanced at Pei's. Seeing her expression was equally serious, somewhat bewildered, and inexplicably panicked, but still nodded gently. All right, ask. Did you participate in that matter? He asked straightforwardly, catching Mu Zhuan off guard, and exactly because of this suddenness, Mu Zhuan's expression couldn't be hidden in time and was caught clearly by the two. The expression on his face explained everything. The two's eyes were dyed with deep disappointment. The well-behaved and kind son in front of them actually had such a nature privately. This made them feel too disappointed. They didn't remember teaching him this kind of thing. Pei Zuru was even more disappointed and pained. She asked herself she never took his education lightly, often cared about and inquired into all aspects of his life. When encountering things, she would also take the opportunity to educate and establish correct values and moral views, not like many wealthy families, who just throw everything to tutors and ignore it. But why would Zhao Xuan do this thing? Why did he go ostracize classmates? Discovered by adults yet didn't know his wrong? To the point that it finally led to an accident occurring. Mu Zhuan met the disappointed gazes of the two, and knew the matter couldn't be hidden at all anymore. Pressed in his heart, these days, the panic, fear, worry, and terror suddenly erupted. He burst into loud crying with a, "What?" and quickly cried until he was out of breath, crying while defending himself. Mom, Dad, I let you down. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I didn't expect it would be like this. I didn't do anything to miss when I didn't know she would be like this. This kind of thing you say you didn't know. Father Mu was so angry he didn't know what to say. Whether a bad deed should be done? Didn't he know? Is he a 3-year-old ignorant child? He is already 17 years old. Received school education for over a decade. Doesn't he even have basic morals and worldviews? Why exactly did you do this? Your well-behaved and sensible behavior in front of us. Was it all fake? Why did you ostracize others? Mu Zhuan bit his lip, his eyes flickering with hesitation. Not daring to speak his mind, he knew that bit of jealousy was wrong, but he really couldn't control it. From childhood to adulthood, he had always been excellent. Was the most dazzling person in the crowd. Was the moon surrounded by stars? But that classmate stole his light. Snatched his #1 throne away. You still won't tell the truth. Pei Zuru was extremely angry, shouted sternly. Mu Zhuan couldn't stop shivering all over. His pale lips trembling, somewhat ashamed, spoke out the reason. The more he spoke, the lower his voice became. Pei Zuru wished she could faint herself. Listen to what all this is. Just because someone else was more excellent than him? So he became jealous in his heart. Then instigated his friends to ostracize them outside. Discovered by others yet didn't correct his mistake. And even relied on family background to threaten. He was jealous of others' good grades. Why didn't he work hard to surpass them? but instead wanted to use such crooked means to harm people. She was shocked and found it hard to believe. Looking at Xuan, she only felt this son was very unfamiliar. Was it that she didn't know her son well enough? Or had she never known her son at all? She couldn't help but deeply doubt it. Peizuru's gaze made Xuan afraid. He threw himself into her arms, tightly hugged her waist, crying and saying loudly, "Mom, sorry. I really didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know it would turn out like this. At first, I just wanted to see her make a fool of herself. I didn't want to harm anyone. Really? Later what they did, I didn't. I really didn't participate. I didn't know about the mall incident that day either. Jiang didn't mention it to me. Later, when the matter blew up, he only said it then. That was when I knew. If I had been present, I definitely would have stopped it. I didn't want to harm anyone. Dad, I really know I was wrong. Didn't expect things to turn out like this. I will never dare to do it again. I will never be jealous of others again. I will work hard to become better myself. Mom, Dad, believe me." Xuan's tone was urgent and pleading. He is not the biological bloodline of the Mu family. He is just an adopted son now. He cannot let Mom and Dad be completely disappointed. If they were disappointed in him, would they not want him anymore? And then ruthlessly send him away. Then where else could he go? Xuan was already panicking and uneasy. The classmate involved in this matter, the main culprit who encountered weird things leading to the fall, being scared to death stretched his nerves to the extreme limit. His mental endurance limit had also been reached. Now being found out by Father Mu and his wife, his brain constantly flashed with thoughts of being driven away. Regret, fear, scared, uneasy, despair surged into his heart all at once. Also hadn't rested well for many days, so when he got anxious in his heart, he couldn't catch his breath, and fainted. The Mu family was once again thrown into chaos. Everyone went to Xuan's room, only I didn't show my face. Mu Yue was indignant, muttered a few words, and was overheard by Peizu. She was already quite angry about this matter. The second daughter targeting the eldest son for Xuan's sake made her immediately fly into a rage. Harshly and sternly scolded, "What are you doing targeting Xiao Chen all day long? He is your biological brother, not your enemy. Also, is Xiao Chen a doctor? What impact does his coming or not have on the matter?" Peizueru is actually a tolerant mother, usually putting on a look of wanting to punish the children, but everyone just scares people, rarely scolding and reprimanding them like this. So Mu Yue was scolded silly, Mu wanting, and the twins just returned. The few looked at each other and simultaneously had doubts in their hearts. Did something they didn't know happen at home? The several Mu sisters sensed the unusual atmosphere. Originally only suspecting something happened, now it was basically confirmed. The only one unaffected was still me. I still did whatever I was supposed to do, indulging in watching TV programs all day. Originally said they would hire a tutor for me, but now this matter was shelved. Others still have heavy homework. While I every day besides watching TV, only eating could make me leave the sofa. Xiao Chen, you stay at home all day. Did something happen at home? Eldest sister is busy at the company. Sometimes I will neglect matters at home. If something happened at home, you must remember to tell eldest sister. Mu, wanting, rarely rested at home, but still was busy in the study for half a day. Only then came down and saw me watching TV. She paused, walked to my side and sat down. My gaze didn't move a bit. Nothing is wrong at home. It's quite good. Is there really nothing wrong? Mom and Dad seem to be troubled these few days. Is it because of your schooling? If I didn't say she had to probe herself, I have been back in the Mu family for over a month too. But Mu wanting is very unfamiliar with her brother. Hearing these words, I bestowed a glance upon her, only that look was not quite normal. On what basis do you say it's because of my matter? You firmly believe that if something happened at home, it's my matter. That's not what I meant. I know you are very well behaved. No, I am not well behaved. Mu wanting felt a burst of mental exhaustion. If you want to know, go ask Mom and Dad. Don't want someone to speak ill of me in the future? Saying I provoked your feelings? I put my gaze back on the TV. Mu wanting raised her eyebrows. How did these words sound so awkward? Could it be that Xuan remembered the previous 2 nights? Mu wanting couldn't help frowning. Without waiting for her to find a chance to ask, the new year arrived. The atmosphere in the Mu family could be considered recovered. Xuan, who had been sick for a few days, recovered. Only his whole person became much more silent. This is the first new year I spent back in the Mu family. Father Mu and Peizueru both attached great importance to it and had people start preparing early on. The careful decorations at home and the prepared New Year's Eve dinner dishes, all were done with much thought and effort. Everything revolved around me. As for the other people in the family, had celebrated so many New Years already, what does it matter to yield to Xiao Chen this year? Isn't this natural and expected? When New Year's Eve arrived, the house was bustling. The previous slump seemed to not exist. Father Mu and Peizueru's attitude towards Mu Xuan also didn't have any changes. After that day, the two had a talk, and didn't mention this matter again afterwards. My first time celebrating the new year in the mortal world felt very much that everything was novel. My whole person also became very happy. Not only were there more smiles on my face, my temper also seemed much better, and didn't target Muyu, making Paisweru and Father Mu endlessly happy. After the new year, the family prepared to return to the capital. The Mu family's roots are in the capital. Old Madame Mu also lived in the Mu residence in the capital. As an elder, a son should naturally bring his children to pay New Year's greetings. Otherwise, it's easy to be criticized. Usually, the two families celebrate New Year's Eve separately, unless there are special matters. Then they would gather in the capital together to have a reunion dinner, and I had just come back. I should be taken to the capital to get to know people. The Mu family, besides their 3 siblings, also has other collateral relatives, who still maintain contact now. On the second day of the new year, the family packed up and set off, taking their own private jet back to the capital. Taking an airplane for the first time, I was very curious. On the plane, my whole person pressed against the window staring intently outside, making Paisweru find it extremely amusing. Mu Yui, seeing this, opened her mouth to mock me. Paisweru threw a glance over, and she immediately closed her mouth tactfully. Arriving at the capital's territory, the Mu family arranged people to pick us up from the airport, got in the car and headed straight for the old residence in the capital. Before setting off, Paisweru told me once about the complicated interpersonal relationships here. I listened and just nodded slightly, and didn't say any nonsense. Arriving in front of the Mu family's old residence, I habitually sized up the surrounding environment. The Mu family has stood in the capital for over a century. Now, the ancestral home has of course been continuously renovated, gradually evolving into its current appearance, not the European-style villas loved by the rich, but carrying a traditional national style, a square and upright large mansion, where one can find profound historical traces. Generations of the Mu family maintained the house extremely well. Heard that back then, experts were hired for site selection and construction. The patriarch back then left a will before passing away, ordering descendants not to change the ancestral home's address, not to lightly touch the foundation, and even less to resell the old residence. If renovating can only renovate on the existing foundation, violating it would result in losing the right of inheritance. Exactly because of establishing this point, the ancestral home, strictly speaking, hasn't changed much. What changed was only the superstructure. I can see the ancestral home indeed brings prosperity to descendants, the fortune accumulated over so many years. A purple aura is faintly visible above the residence, but yet it also presents a trend of decline, indicating the ancestral home's protective effect is disappearing. Looking at it, no one has touched the ancestral home. Then it can only be a problem with the descendants. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly. This is getting interesting. Happy New Year. Entering the house, the first greeting was Happy New Year. Today, not only Father Mu's family came over, the married-out eldest sister also brought her family. Oh my, this must be Zhao Chen. Sorry. Last time there was a matter at home, so we didn't go to High City. You must not blame Aunt. Xuan noticed me standing beside Paisweru at a glance. An unfamiliar face could only be the son the third brother found back. Hello, eldest aunt. I am Mu Chen. I put on a well-behaved appearance. Xuan looked at me smilingly, sizing me up inconspicuously in her eyes. Looks really like your mom and dad. I am their son. Of course I look like them. Xuan's smile seemed to pause, and said as if nothing happened. Is this the cousin from the Taoist temple deep in the mountains? Looks really rustic. Doesn't look like a young master of the Mu family at all. A boy who looked about the same jumped directly to Xuan's side. His gaze fell straight on me. The scanning seemed extremely rude. The tone carried undisguised contempt. Paisweru's face instantly darkened. Xuan quickly pulled her son back, reprimanding him softly without much force. How can you speak like that? I used an even more critical and disgusted look, and scanned him carefully from head to toe. You grew up by your parents' side, living a life of luxury. But, looking at your manners, it seems you're even worse than me. The mother and son's faces changed. Meng Saiji was so angry his face turned completely red, completely unexpected that I wouldn't follow common sense. Don't normal people hold it in when encountering this? How could he talk back in public? Paisweru was so happy in her heart, but on the surface she mimicked Xuan's earlier manner. You child, how can you speak like that? I kept a wooden face and replied calmly. I was learning from him. I thought young masters in the capital were all like this. Mu Yue was trying hard to hold back her laughter on the side. Previously, it was always her being roasted by me. Today, it's finally someone else's turn. Seeing me roast him until he couldn't say half a word, why was she so happy? Although this cousin has a good relationship with Xuan, but she just really dislikes him. Also, a young master of the Mu family. with a delicate status, doted on by thousands, but hasn't been as unreasonable as him, and also especially selfish, acting like the whole world revolves around him. During gatherings when they were young, Meng Saiji didn't dare to bother eldest sister too much, but it was different for the others. They were all forced to become his toys. Whatever happened, they had to give in to him. If they didn't obey, he would cry and make a huge scene, and would push the blame onto the sisters when he caused trouble, making them take the blame many times. Growing up, he learned to play the victim, making them annoyed whenever they saw him. Now someone can finally handle him. Pei Zuiru glared at her second daughter, signaling her to restrain herself. Don't go too far. Turned around, looking at Mu Kaioksuan apologetically. Eldest sister, sorry. Xiaochen is good in every way, just too straightforward. Don't take it to heart. After speaking, she turned to exhort me. Young masters in the capital of course have good manners. Your cousin was just joking just now. You can't be petty and take it seriously. Mu Kaioksuan was full of pent-up anger upon hearing this. What? If her son takes it seriously, then he is petty, right? Meng Saiji encountered this kind of thing for the first time, stomped his feet, and ran away unhappily. When no one was paying attention, Mu Yue lowered her voice and praised me for doing well. We just can't spoil him. I glanced at her indifferently. I am not his parents. Of course I won't spoil him. What you said makes so much sense. Why didn't you think like this when being oppressed before? Besides eldest aunt's family, who I hadn't met, the others from the main Mu family were at the recognition banquet, but I had little contact with the cousins. Just mutually introduced and got to know each other. Lu Manche and Mu Mingyuan had 3 sons. The second son and the youngest son are close in age to me. The eldest son is already married. Married a wealthy daughter of the capital. Mu Kaioksuan and Zi Fusheng only have 1 son, which is Meng Siji. Everyone gathered together. There are quite a lot of people, making it seem very bustling. Old Madame Mu's smile never dropped. Xiao Xuan, why? Have you lost so much weight? Old Madame Mu pulled Mu Zhuan to her side, looked him over left and right, and furrowed her brows. Mu Zhuan touched his face. Just as he was about to deny it, old Madame Mu turned to Pei Zui and opened her mouth to criticize in dissatisfaction. Although Xiao Zhuan's background was mistaken, he was also raised in the Mu family for so many years. You cannot mistreat him because of bloodlines. Pei Zuiru's face immediately looked terrible. What does she mean they mistreated? When did they ever mistreat Xiao Zhuan? Mu Zhuan saw Pei Zuiru's face change and hastily spoke up to explain. Grandma. No, Mom and Dad treat me very well. I caught a cold and had a fever a few days ago. Got sick from a moment of carelessness in the winter. Mom and Dad are very good to me. Grandma, you must not misunderstand. If Mu Zhuan had been like before, naturally saying these words with a coquettish tone, old Madame Mu would still have believed it. But precisely because of Wen Yimo's matter, he always had a huge knot in his heart, feeling that Mom and Dad must be disappointed in him, so he became somewhat cautious. Explaining hurriedly, it was originally a good thing, but falling into the eyes of others, it became something else. Instead, making things worse, the more he tried to explain, old Madame Mu held Mu Zhuan's hand. Xiao Zhuan, don't overthink it. You are still a young master of my Mu family. I will leave these words right here. Whoever dares to make things difficult for you in the future, you call Grandma? Grandma will vent your anger for you. Saying this, she meaningfully glanced at me. Although I noticed it, I remained completely unmoved. I didn't find it strange either. Although Mu Zhuan isn't a child of the Mu family, he was raised for over a decade after all. So many years of feelings aren't fake feelings. Investments received responses. It's impossible to take them back overnight. Bloodline is very important, but accumulated over time. Feelings are also very important. I still stand by that sentence. As long as Mu Zhuan doesn't provoke me, I have no interest in causing sabotage. As for boring jealousy, what even is that? What are you saying? Where is anyone bullying Xiao Zhuan? Xiao Zhuan indeed fell sick a while ago, dragged on for a few days and hasn't had time to recover. Father Mu was quite dissatisfied with his mother's words. Honestly, if there were words targeting Zhao Chen, if they were going to mistreat Xiao Zhuan, then why keep him around? Asking for trouble? Mu Zhuan revealed a pleading look, looking at old Madame Mu. Mom and Dad treat me really well. Please don't blame them. He should be grateful he can stay. Who told him not to be the true young master? All right. Don't be anxious. Your grandma just cares about you too much. Your grandma mutters about you all day long. If it wasn't almost time for school to start, I would want to keep you to stay for a longer period. Lu Manchi, seeing the atmosphere was about to be ruined, hurriedly spoke up to resolve the awkwardness. Old Madame Mu didn't cling to it either, patted Mu Zhuan's head, with a gaze full of motherly love. Next year you'll take the college entrance exam, apply for Jingchang University, and live in the Mu residence by the way. Mu Zhuan subconsciously looked at Pei as if asking for her opinion. Peizuru furrowed her brows. Regarding applying for the college entrance exam, hadn't the family discussed it long ago? It all depends on what Xuan himself likes. Instead, she went along with the old lady's words. Your grandma is right. Apply for Jingcheng University. It's convenient to take care of you. Xuan was happy for a moment first, then couldn't help but feel suspicious in his heart. Is mom truly disappointed and doesn't like him anymore? Thinking of making him apply for Jingcheng University so he can be far away from home. He won't have to frequently appear at home. His mood immediately sank, but he didn't dare to show anything and had to force a smile. Fortunately, he lowered his head. Otherwise, who knows what everyone would think. Father Mu's family stayed in the capital for 2 days. Peizuru thought of taking me to look around everywhere. After all, I had never been to the capital. There are many fun and delicious things in the capital. The most common thing during the new year is to go to the temple. This is what most people in the capital do. And there are also grand temple fairs, which are very bustling. By the 3rd day, Mu Mingwen also got interested, called his own family, saying it's a rare gathering, then they might as well go together. More people means more liveliness, so a big family. Drove 2 commercial vehicles and set off. Meng Saiji, not knowing what he was thinking, also came along to join the fun, pulled Mu Xuan to sit in his uncle's car, driving Mu Mingyuan's youngest son away. Mu Rexu had a somewhat naive mouth, didn't know how to say coaxing words. You could tell she was an honest and simple girl, played well with Mu Yue since childhood. Seeing the two had a good relationship, chatting, my eyes held a profound meaning. One look, and indeed birds of a feather flocked together. Mu Yue herself is a fool. Getting along with the equally foolish Rexu, Mu Yue noticed my gaze. Looked at me bafflingly. What does he want to do again? During the new year? Don't let him get her scolded again. I quickly withdrew my gaze. The group went to the most famous temple in the capital. This temple has over 300 years of history. Although it has experienced dynastic changes and the baptism of war, but it fortunately survived and is preserved quite perfectly. The Buddha statue in the main hall has sat steadily for over 300 years. As always, watching all the worldly prosperity with compassionate eyes, I stepped into the main hall without any psychological burden, knelt down on a futon along with the crowd, closed my eyes, and muttered in my heart, hoping I quickly earn enough merit to return to the city of wrongful deaths and restart the gate of rebirth. After muttering for a while, I finally opened my eyes, met the compassionate eyes of the Buddha statue. I paused. Why does the Buddha statue's gaze feel wrong? Suspecting if it's my own guilty conscience. So looking at the Buddha statue feels weird. I stared unblinkingly at the Buddha statue, trying to verify if it was my own problem. Xiao Chen, you're not allowed to stare at the Buddha statue like that. The Buddha will take offense. Peizuru finished bowing. Found her son kneeling quite straight. It's just his eyes were too presumptuous. Staring straight at the Buddha statue ahead, I withdrew my gaze. Mom, do you feel the gaze is strange? Peizuru took a casual look and quickly withdrew her gaze. Smilingly said, You child, what are you thinking? Aren't these Buddha statues all like this? What's strange about it? The Buddha statue in this main hall has been here for over 300 years, sculpted since the temple was built, and has never changed. How could there be strange places? Thinking that her son grew up in a Taoist temple, Peizuru gently comforted. Although there are more Buddhist temples now, but Taoist temples also exist. When we have time, I'll take you to pray at a Taoist temple. If I weren't the prince of the city of wrongful deaths, I would have been scared by the proposal. Although I am not a ghost, I am ultimately someone from the underworld. Inherently not on the same path as Buddhas and immortals, better come to this kind of place less in the future. After all, we are not people of the same path. I couldn't help but look before standing up, still feeling the gaze isn't quite right. At first glance, it's very compassionate, but looking again reveals a sinister feeling. Doesn't seem proper. Rather like, after leaving the main hall, I put away my doubts. Perhaps I am really too paranoid. This temple's Buddha statue has been passed down for over 300 years. Don't know how much incense it has received. Any problems should have been purified by the incense. Peizuru has been to this temple a few times. The scenery is still quite nice. Before the new year, the capital had heavy snow. The temperature has also been low these few days. The snow hasn't melted, just perfect for going up the mountain to see the snow scenery. Saying there is snow scenery to see, I am very interested. Have really never seen snow. Probably haven't seen it. How long I stayed in the city of wrongful deaths? Can't remember clearly. Should have not seen it before going to the city of wrongful deaths either. Otherwise, why would I have no memory at all? Peizuru watched me walking in front, bouncing and skipping a bit. A complete change from the mature and steady demeanor at home. Only at this time looking like a little boy. Looking at the lively sun, the corners of her mouth curled into a loving smile, her eyes full of tender affection. Ultimately, there is still some regret in her heart. Missing out on her son's growth, The Mu sisters looked on, feeling it novel. Thought this brother's personality was a little pedant. Turns out, he really is still a child. As for why Hayes, more composed than adults, no need to think much about it. Sibling affection surged in Mu Yui's heart, secretly resolving to yield to him more in the future. Who told her to be the fourth sister? As they walked, Mu Yue got an idea. Bent down and grabbed a handful of snow, packed it into a snowball, and threw it at me in front. The snow hit me right on the body. I stopped my steps, turned around with a taut little face. The three Mu sisters pointed at her in unison, indicating they were innocent. I looked at Mu Yue and narrowed my eyes. Got a lot of nerve. Daring to throw snow at me? Mu Yue saw me and even provocatively acted crazy. I stared at her for a while, suddenly smiled, revealing white teeth. I was wearing a white knit hat on my head, with two fluffy balls hanging down. The brim was a circle of cute decorations. Smiling like this? My little face had a chubby feeling, just like a grinning little milk kitten. The four sisters watched, feeling an electric shock in their hearts, tingling and numb, having an urge to go up and rub it. So little brother is this cute. Contrasted with his usual maturity, this is probably Gap Mo. I wouldn't go so far as to ruin my image by smiling. From then on, in the hearts of the four sisters, left a deep impression of Gap Mo. Mu Yue also stared blankly, scratched her head, feeling he seems cuter than Xuan. Thinking like this, a white clump smashed right in her face. She reacted quickly, dodged swiftly, but didn't manage to dodge it. The snow just smashed right onto her face. She stood dumbfounded, thinking she could dodge it. I put my hands on my hips, smiling proudly. You hit me and want to dodge. Dream on. Pei Zuiru clenched her fists on the side, encouraging and praising. Son, Zhao Chen? Well hit. Wonderfully hit. Your fourth sister just needs a beating. Smash her good. As long as you don't smash her to death, it's fine. Mom, am I still your daughter? Mu Yue screamed in breakdown. Pei Zuru glanced at her in disgust. I wish you weren't, my daughter. Pity you look too much like me, so you probably weren't swapped. Mu Yue felt her heart being pierced with holes. Aren't you afraid brother will injure me by smashing? She asked, refusing to give up. Peizuda waved her hand. That can only prove you're useless. What's wrong with being hit by snow a few times? Can it really injure you? If it really injures you, it only proves you're too weak. You'll be laughed at by others in the future. While speaking, I packed another snowball and threw it at her. I had long wanted to teach Mu Yue a lesson. Growing in height, but not in brain. Easily provoked by just 2 sentences from others. Who knows what she'll be used to do in the future? Usually I'm too lazy to bother with her. Today she bumped into me herself. Then I want hold back. They'll teach her a lesson first, then well talk. So Mu Yue and I started fighting. At first, she thought she was robust. How could she lose a snowball fight to a little boy? Thinking of taking the opportunity to vent her anger, but who knew reality was too harsh? She was completely abused for fun. Finally smashed by me, until she scurried around holding her head. Hateful were the 3 heartless sisters, only caring about watching the show from the side. No one came to help her out at all. A family of 8. Actually, she was the one picked up from the streets, right? What are you guys doing? Playing around Mu Yue and I stopped. Mu Yue secretly let out a sigh of relief. Too embarrassing. Actually losing a snowball fight to a younger brother. It's Mu Xuan and Meng Saiji. Everyone came together. After paying respects, separated from each other, Meng Saigi insisted on dragging Mu Xuan along. So Mu Xuan followed him and left. Just happened to run into each other now. Seeing Mu Yue covered in a sorry state, perfectly good clothes smashed dirty. Hair like a bird's nest full of snow. Then look at me. Clean and tidy. Mu Xuan became a bit dissatisfied. Xiao Chen, how could you smash 4th sister like this? Mu Yue, hearing these words, knew it wasn't good. Hurriedly wanted to explain before I spoke, but I didn't give her time at all. If you hadn't yelled, I could have smashed even harder. Besides, she smashed me first. She just smashed once. As a result, I smashed her like a pig. Mu Xuan was choked up, opened his mouth, muttered, Then you still can't smash her like this? Mu Yue hurriedly spoke to smooth things over. Xiao Xuan, I'm fine. I'm having a snowball fight with him. Doesn't hurt at all. Just looks a bit dirty on the clothes. Don't worry. Mood ruined by Mu Xuan. I threw the snowball in my hand aside. Dusted off my palms. Snorted. Walked to Pei Zura's side. Mom, let's keep walking. Pei Zuru smiled and nodded. Then looked at Mu Xuan and Meng Saiji. Since we met, let's go together. Many people during the new year, easy for accidents to happen. Although she was worried the 2 would argue. Her gaze fell on Mu Xuan. I helped a master with a favor. He promised me one thing. Didn't think of cashing in the promise before, but now he has to do this. He needs to save his eldest grandson. Pei Zuru and her group toured the temple all the way, and left quite smoothly. The couple put their hearts back in their stomachs. Stayed in the capital for 2 days. Set off back to High City. Father Mu busied himself with my schooling. The couple thought it over and over. Decided to let me go to Xuan's school, although their relationship is very average, no matter what. Being in the same school and same class can look out for each other somewhat. When the couple thought of this point, they actually had no confidence at all in their hearts. With Xiao Chen's personality, expecting to look out for Xuan is impossible, but finally decided so anyway. Holding on to a bit of beautiful wish, maybe things aren't as imagined. I had been taking remedial classes during this winter vacation. The several Mu sisters tutored me. Also hired teachers to come home. At first everyone couldn't figure out the situation, what exactly I learned before, but soon it became completely clear. Although I haven't attended formal school, the female official who adopted me taught quite a lot. My own learning ability is very good. Learn extremely fast. Father Mu and Peizueru were endlessly pleasantly surprised, simultaneously feeling endlessly fortunate in their hearts. Fortunately, the female official was learned, taught Xiao Chen a lot of knowledge. Otherwise, he really might be like an illiterate. Soon it was time for school to start. This day, Father Mu postponed his work time. Personally drove to take his son to school. In the car was the worried Peizueru and Mu Yui representing the four sisters. In the car, Peizueru exhorted non-stop. I didn't appear impatient. Instead, it was Mu Yui, hearing it until her ears got cut. Mom, that's enough from you. He is just going to school. Thought he was going to do something dangerous? Mu Yui rolled her eyes. Moreover, it's not even boarding school. We'll come home every day. What could happen? Peizueru glared at her fiercely. You don't know anything, so shut up. This school just had an incident not long ago. If it wasn't for Zhao Xuan studying here all along, and seeing it's the last semester, would absolutely not let Zhao Chen study here. Thinking of that accident, Peizueru felt uncomfortable in her heart. After all, Xuan also participated in this matter. She had the mind to say a few words. Seeing the silent Xuan beside her, the words were involuntarily swallowed back. Forget it. Believe he knows he is thoroughly wrong. Won't dare to do foolish things anymore in the future. If she continues to cling to it, he will get sensitive and overthink again. Mom, don't worry. I won't let anyone bully me. I know what she's worried about. Not to mention, I am a Mu family young master. Even if I were an ordinary person, dare to bully me? I will return it 100-fold. Evil people all bully the weak and fear the strong. As long as you are more evil than them, they will in turn fear you. Father Mu and Peizueru sent me to the school gate, then had no way to enter. Normally the school doesn't allow parents to enter, can only pick up and drop off at the school gate. Watching Xuan and me walk in, Peizueru was still a bit worried. Father Mu put his arm around her shoulder and comforted. Don't worry. Zhao Chen is a smart kid. We'll be fine. And Hei's not someone who takes losses. Peizueru cast a faint glance at him, too lazy to explain much to him. Knowing his personality makes her even more worried. What if conflicts and disputes arise? Entering the school, my eyes couldn't hide their curiosity. Looking around carefully at the school, children of this era are really fortunate. Boys can also enter school together. Only need to pay a little bit of money. Such a spacious and bright place. Such a flat and clean floor. In summer, no need to fear the heat. In winter, no need to fear the cold. Unlike children in the past, only the children of upper-class nobles would have slightly better school environments. Commoner children wanting to study was extremely difficult. Why would I think like this? Could it be I have seen this before? I had a brief moment of doubt. Didn't find matching memories in my mind. Just assumed I heard ghosts mention it before. Xuan noticed my amazement, and the action of looking around, couldn't help but feel very disdainful in his heart. Lowered his eyes to cover the bottom of his eyes, looking down on Xiao Chen. Do you know how to get to your classroom? Do you want me to lead you there? Xuan stood in front of the teaching building and asked. I cast a cold glance at him. No. Xuan smiled slightly. Then you go by yourself. Your class is right upstairs. Very easy to find. If you can't find it, ask a teacher. Xuan felt fortunate. The time I came back perfectly coincided with almost winter vacation. Avoiding him suffering strange looks from people around. Thinking of this, Xuan let out a breath. Turned and walked towards one direction. I walked towards the opposite direction. Stood at the back door of Class F's classroom and looked up, confirmed I didn't go wrong. Then fell into silence. No wonder Father hearing I wanted to come to Class F. His expression would be so complicated and hard to describe. Are you the new student? Named Mu Chen, right? Class F's homeroom teacher hurriedly arrived. Seeing a boy standing at the back door, he paused. Remembered this matter. I spun around with a whoosh. Stared at the teacher and sized him up carefully. Confirmed the other party's identity. Bowed properly. Hello, teacher. The teacher was stunned for a moment by me. So serious, even bowed to him. Student Mu Chen. I am your homeroom teacher. My surname is Liu. Everyone calls me Big Liu. You can also call me that. Come find me if you encounter difficulties in the future." I shook my head gently, said earnestly and seriously, "You are a teacher. Deserve respect. How can I call you Big Liu? Respecting teachers and teachings is basic morality." Big Liu was suddenly a bit touched. Been a teacher for so long, first time feeling a stir in the soul, but this touch was fleeting. Big Liu quickly returned to normal. "Class is starting immediately. Come in with me." Big Liu walked quickly into the classroom. Students completely ignored him though, still doing whatever they were doing. Noisy. Big Leo was obviously used to it. "Everyone be quiet. Class is starting. Before that, introduce a new student." Big Liu yelled at the top of his lungs. The noise in the classroom paused. Everyone's gaze fell over, one after another, sizing up me standing on the podium. Oh my, a new student coming at this time? This is surprising enough. This handsome guy looks not bad. Is a big handsome guy. Big Liu, listening to the discussions below, felt a burst of embarrassment on his face. Coughed back. Said gently to me, "Student Mu Chen, you introduce yourself first." I nodded. With a calm expression, looking at the crowd below, "I am Mu Chen. Student Mu, you're done." I glanced at him bafflingly. Otherwise, what else? This self-introduction is really simple. Finished introducing myself. Next should be arranging a seat. Big Liu was still looking where to seat me. I scanned around myself, walked towards a certain seat. Seeing me sit down in a seat, Big Liu and the classmates opened their mouths wide, looking extremely shocked. Classmates, besides shock, seemed to carry a trace of anticipation for a good show. "Who told you to sit here?" I turned my head to look at my deskmate. "Can't I sit?" "No, I don't want to sit with someone else," Liu Kipping said with a dark face. If it weren't for seeing Hayes a boy, she would have kicked him over long ago. Who gave him the nerve to sit beside her? I withdrew my gaze, said indifferently, "Oh, then you change seats." Liu Kipping and the classmates were all dumbfounded. After coming to their senses, she laughed in anger, pointing a finger at herself. "Do you know who I am?" "Don't know?" She didn't introduce herself. "How would I know who she is?" "Don't know who I am? Yet dare to speak like this, don't? Think because you are a boy, I won't dare to hit you." I finally bestowed a glance upon her. "If you want to hit me, leave immediately. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson." I thought about it, earnestly said, "Then let's have a fight. Let's fight. If I win, you listen to me from now on. If I lose, I listen to you. How about it?" The classroom instantly went quiet. Then everyone burst into laughter. Oh my, laughing me to death. "He said he wants to fight Liu Kipping. Doesn't he know our Sister Ping is tough? Sister Ping, teach him a lesson." Liu Kipping disdained, curled her lips. "I never use my hands on boys. Not even enough for one of my fingers." I smiled indifferently. "I think you don't dare to fight me. You're afraid to lose." Liu Kipping was like a cat whose tail was stepped on, sharply jumped up from the seat. "I would lose? Simply a joke." "Fine. Since you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth, then I'll grant your wish. Originally seeing you look not bad. Was preparing to be magnanimous and not fuss over personal matters. Didn't expect you wouldn't take face, given." Her gaze, tired of me, was full of disgust, firmly believing I was like the boys flocking to her. Then it settled. I calmly laid out my books, sitting extremely properly, indicating preparing for class now. "Xiao Xuan, why didn't your brother come with you? Did your parents not let him in the same class?" After Mu Xuan returned to the classroom and sat down, those who usually played well immediately gathered to ask. Mu Xuan pursed his lips, answered, "Xiao Chen went to class F. Actually went to class F. So that means his grades are very poor." "Didn't they say your parents dote on him very much? Why would they let him go to class F?" Class F is just muddling through, all preparing to study abroad after the college entrance exam. Most our youngest sons are out of favor. Don't need to consider inheriting the family business in the future. Just waiting to get money and muddle along is fine. Fundamentally don't care about grades. No one cares what it's like. As long as they don't cause trouble at school, ignore everything else. The Mu family let him go to class F. Looks like they don't dote on him that much either. Exactly. Although he is a biological son. Having lived outside for over a decade, who knows what Hay's like? How can it compare with carefully cultivated Zhao Zhuan? Looks like Xiao Zhuan is still the Mu family young master. Mu Xuan hesitated on his face for a moment. Was it that Xiao Chen didn't do well in the exam? He didn't say. At first, Father Mu wanted to use connections to transfer me to class 1, but I myself decisively refused. Father Mu is a doting demon. Of course wouldn't force his son, so that's why I went to class F. Mu Xuan's friends curled their lips. Actually could only go to class F. That's really poor enough. Zhao Xuan is first in class. This gap is too big. Xuan continued to speak to explain. Xiao Chen didn't want this either. He used to live in a Taoist temple and hadn't even been to a formal school. Being able to enter Class F is already very good. As long as he studies hard, he can still transfer to other classes. It's already the second half of the semester. What's there left to transfer to? After the college entrance exam, it'll be time to change schools. You said he lived in a Taoist temple? Really or falsely? Hearing this explosive news, more classmates gathered around gossiping. There's nothing to talk about. Class is about to start. Hurry back to your seats and sit properly. Xuan pushed the classmates beside him, urging them to return to their seats and sit properly, but the more he refused to speak in detail, the more curious everyone became in their hearts and could only secretly guess for themselves. Xuan sat in his seat, lowered his eyes and opened his book. As always, quiet and well-behaved, just suddenly turned his head to look at the seat, where a familiar person should originally have been sitting. But the seat was empty right now. The person originally sitting there wasn't there anymore. Thinking of Jiang Yan, his eyes darkened. His gaze casually swept over a certain spot, like being pricked by a needle. Withdrew my gaze, not daring to look another second. That was Wen Yimo's seat. After the incident, everything changed. Usually the several classes mind their own business and don't interfere with each other. Looking down on each other, Class F is at the bottom of the chain of disdain. The further ahead, the more disdainful they are of having contact. But today is different. Right after class, people just went out. Classmates ran back quickly, yelling loudly in excitement. Big news! Big news! People from Class F are going to fight. Are you crazy? What's so strange about Class F fighting? It's only strange on days they don't fight. No. The classmate who ran back stomped his feet. Looking meaningfully at Xuan was looked at bafflingly. The classmate deliberately acted mysterious. No, who is fighting with Lu Kaiping? His gaze fell on Xuan again. Such an obvious hint. The people around couldn't ignore it even if they wanted to. Xuan's expression was about to freeze. Everyone looked at each other. A close male friend asked, "You mean Zhao Xuan's brother is fighting with Lu Kaiping, right? That can't be. Who is Lu Kaiping, let alone among the seniors? It's the entire school. That's also a figure no one doesn't know. Has been a prominent figure since junior high. It's just in a derogatory sense. That's right. It's SBU Chen." This was said personally by people from Class F, and said Mu Chen actively provoked, saying to meet in the small grove after school. After the classmate finished speaking, he looked at Mu Xuan smilingly. "Student Mu Xuan, this brother of yours is really capable. Actually dared to challenge Lu Kaiping. Has he trained before? Must be very formidable." Confirming the classmate wasn't joking, Mu Xuan stood up with a swoosh and walked out, feeling both angry and anxious in his heart. Is Mu Chen crazy? Daring to provoke just anyone? Thinks the school is the MOE family, where everyone will yield to him. Allowing him to act outrageously, he angrily went to Class F to find Mu Chen, but stopped halfway. He bit his lips tightly gripping his fists, his eyes flickering. If he stops him, of course it's good, avoiding trouble, and mom and dad blaming him. But if he doesn't stop him, and he really fights with Lu Kaiping, no matter what, it will cause trouble. He hasn't had much contact with Lu Kaiping, but has heard a lot about her. Knowing the Lu family is no ordinary family, Mu Chen provoked her. He gritted his teeth, turned and walked back. Forget it. Leave it alone. Even if he goes to persuade, he won't listen. Might even say ugly things making him lose face together. Didn't they say fighting after school? Just go persuade after school then. If he doesn't listen, call eldest sister. Mom and dad won't blame him then. Class S had high spirits all morning. Big Liu heard their conversation, but didn't take it seriously at all. After class exhorted a few words, telling Kipping not to argue with boys. It would lose her demeanor. After exhorting, he left. He had some understanding of Lu Kaiping, believed she wouldn't vent her anger on a new student, but he didn't expect that I wasn't a pushover either. So as soon as class ended, Class S went in a mighty contingent, crowding towards the small grove behind the school. I glanced at the classmates following along. My gaze fell on Lu Kaiping, wondering if I should remind her to let the unrelated classmates leave first. Otherwise, she might lose face badly later. Wanting face is human nature. This happened often in the city of wrongful deaths. Couldn't win, so they wailed and found me to uphold justice. How is this upholding justice? If inferior in skill, just admit defeat. Later, no one bothered me with trivial matters. I manage on behalf of my sister. With numerous affairs, how could I bother with these trivial matters? Lu Kaiping felt my gaze was problematic, but she had no proof. How do you want to fight? While it hasn't started yet, as long as you earnestly admit fault, this matter will be dropped. It'll be generous, and not hold it against you. Lu Kaiping said arrogantly, fighting with boys is really embarrassing. Even if she won, she was afraid of being mocked. But letting it go like this wouldn't do either. Where would her face go? So he must apologize and admit fault. Fight however you're good at fighting. Cut the nonsense. Hurry and start. I still need to go home early. The Mu family driver has probably arrived. Lu Kaiping was furious and laughed. Fine. Someone delivers themselves to be beaten. I have no need to be too polite either. Rare for her to be a gentleman once, yet the other party doesn't appreciate it at all. Mu Xuan left right after school. Classmates thought he went to stop it. He indeed went to the small grove, took a look from afar, then turned and left. Headed straight towards the school gate. Arriving at the school gate, quickly saw the Mu family's car. The person who stepped out of the driver's seat was eldest sister Mu Wanting. His eyes lit up, walked briskly over and hurriedly opened his mouth. Eldest sister, you came just in time. Zhao Chen is going to fight someone? Hurry and go, stop him. Mu Wanting was completely dumbfounded. Thought she heard wrong. Fight. You say Zhao Chen is going to fight someone? Mu Xuan had a face full of anxiety and worry. Don't know how? Just arrived at school and got into a conflict with the class troublemaker. Arranged to fight in the small grove after school, and I can't persuade him. Eldest sister, hurry and go. What if he gets beaten up if you're late? Mu, Wanting upon hearing, also got anxious. No time to ask much. Walked towards the school. The guard wanted to stop her. She laid out her identity, said the child at home had an accident. The guard also didn't dare to obstruct much, and just let her in like that. Mu Xuan anxiously led his eldest sister running to the small grove, behaving flawlessly. A hint of expectation occasionally flashed in his eyes. Mu Wanting worried about her brother, didn't notice. The two hurried to the grove, but the scene stunned them both, and then fell into silence. Especially Mu Wanting, now somewhat doubting life. Thought she would see her brother being bullied. Why did you enter the school? It's getting late. Let's go home. Mu Wanting only came to her senses after a long while. Saw I had already walked quite a few meters away. Hurriedly chased after until we returned to the car. Finally regained reasoning and voice. Her gaze was extremely complex, looking at me with unspeakable feelings. I looked at her and stated honestly, oh, I just had a fight with someone. I won. This small matter doesn't need to be told to mom and dad, so they don't worry. What do you think? She felt this was wrong. How could he fight with someone? And why did he even win? Have you trained? Besides this reason, can't think of any other reason. Indeed, I have trained, and quite formidable too. In the city of wrongful deaths, besides my sister, I am the most formidable. Mu Wanting looked at me and fell into silence. At this moment, Mu Xuan finally caught up, opened the car door and got in the back seat, panting a little. Before catching his breath, I threw a sentence over. Today's matter, I don't want mom and dad to know, so they don't worry. What do you think? Mu Xuan met my cold eyes. Couldn't help but feel suffocated. Subconsciously glanced at Mu Wanting. She was immersed in shock and completely didn't notice her gaze, having no reaction at all. Mu Xuan had no choice but to feel aggrieved and unwilling. Lowering his own eyes, I understand. I won't mention it to mom and dad. Zhao Chen never mentioned having trained. On the way, Mu Wanting couldn't help asking. You guys didn't ask, I answered self-righteously. Mu Wanting was instantly choked up, thought about it and felt guilty. Not caring enough after Zhao Chen returned home? Never proactively asked to understand? Even worried Mu Xuan would be wronged. Worried his nature was wild from being raised outside. Not knowing how to be tactful, nor knowing how to be considerate to family. Worried the family would be in chaos. He is her biological brother. Biological brother from the same mother. Only knowing he grew up in a Taoist temple. Never cared how he grew up. What kind of life he lived. How he spent the months alone after the female official died. Did he encounter bad things? So he learned self-defense skills. Returning home, accompanied by Pays, immediately cared about the first day of school life. Asked carefully. I answered flawlessly. How could she imagine her well-behaved son fought? Hearing it went well, she felt reassured. Mu Xuan wanted to expose this matter, but he didn't dare to take the risk. Finally told himself, forget it. If spoken out, he probably wouldn't be punished. Himself ending up looking bad. Why do this? Felt a bit more comfortable in his heart. Guests might come to the house recently. Zweru, arrange it. Father Mu remembered and sat at the dining table. Pei Zwiru was somewhat surprised. Guests coming to the house? How come she didn't know about this? Father Mu frowned slightly, seeming to feel a trace of bewilderment. It's the old madam of the fifth family in the capital. What? The old madam of the fifth family? Li Zuriru was truly shocked this time. Having always had no interaction or contact, why would the old madam come as a guest? Father Mu thought about it and answered, wouldn't exactly call it being a guest. The old madam is coming to High City for business. Doesn't want to stay in a hotel. The fifth family has no house here. Eldest sister knew and asked us to host. Why is eldest sister like this? Not even asking first. No need to think. Knowing what she's planning, the fifth family, although not top tier in the capital, the name isn't quite ranked. doesn't affect its status and influence. The fifth family is neither in politics nor business, relying on divination, fortune-telling, and altering luck. Legend has it the ancestor divined a national disaster, turned around the fate of the entire country. Only then did the current empire exist. Ancestor leaked heaven's secrets and died violently. Although the fifth family established its position, prestige and power reached their peak. But everything has pros and cons. The country's fate was changed. How could a life offset it? From then on, the fifth family's descendants withered. A huge family left with only 2 branches, a total of 3 descendants, 2 boys and 1 girl. The direct line only has 1. Worse is the direct line's precious heir encountered some unknown accident a few years ago. Heard he became in a vegetative state, could pass away just like that at any time. Descendants withering. Abilities also declined. The direct line is said to be ignorant of the classics. Why a prominent family fell to such a state truly makes people sigh endlessly. No one dares to underestimate the fifth family. That is a family protected by the high. The one lying there grew up in the head of state's mansion. The supreme ruler loves him like a son, spent great effort to cure him, putting out a promise to whoever cures him. Even if the fifth family is withered, it is still beyond people's reach. Moreover, a rotten ship still has 3 pounds of nails. What benefits does eldest aunt want to get? But what does it have to do with their family? The old madam is not young anymore. What if something happens? Who can bear the responsibility? If hosted well, eldest aunt benefits. They have no benefits in High City. Simply a thankless task. Father Mu, looking at his wife's expression, knew what she was thinking. He also didn't want to get involved in this. Separated the family and left the capital. Attitude clear. Not having too much ambition. Effort is to give his wife and children a good life. Not worrying about food and clothing. Having money to spend and being happy. Wife wanting to be a rich lady doing beauty treatments. Wanting to travel abroad and watch shows. All fine. Giving children the best educational environment. As a father can't manage for a lifetime, if incapable in the future, just live an ordinary life. Won't work like a beast of burden for them. As for son, Zhao Chen, must take care of for a lifetime. Suffered too much hardship in the first half of life. Must compensate him for the rest of his life. Thinking connecting with the fifth family is a good thing. Establishing a good relationship. To find a good marriage match in the future, can't say it in front of the child. Don't overthink. Even if agreeing might not necessarily come. If really hosting, it's also a good thing. Having more connections can't be wrong. Leisweru could only nod. The capital side had the idea. If not agreeing, eldest aunt would make the old madam step forward. The Mu family, children showed interest. Only I didn't even lift my eyelids, concentrating on eating dinner, as if facing peerless delicacies. Father Mu, seeing this, was deeply worried. Zhao Chen is raised too purely. Don't know if it's a good or bad thing. If he can't find someone sincere in the future, marrying into a wealthy family would get him eaten clean. Marrying an ordinary person wouldn't bear to let him suffer. Wanting his wife to guide him more in the future? Society is complex. Being too pure isn't good. When Father Mu's mind was full of wild thoughts, I had already swallowed the last bite. Satisfied? Ending dinner. Raised my eyes and met my old father's complex gaze. I paused, suspecting if I ate too much, making people worry. Imful. Won't worry about eating the family into poverty, right? How would I know he was worrying about my marriage? I arrived at school, stepped into class F. Instantly the noise. Classroom was like the mute button was pressed. Everyone closed their mouths, seemingly busy with their own things, occasionally stealing a glance at me. Gaze extremely strange. I didn't look sideways. Walked to my seat and sat down. Luke hyping on the side with a dark face. Hey, why aren't you speaking? Waiting for me to humiliate him. Waiting and waiting. No movement. I took out textbook and started reading. She finally couldn't help speaking up. How exactly did you tear the chrysanthemum? I strangely cast a glance at her. Luke hyping slapped forcefully. Stood up glaring at me. You're messing with me. The class was terrifyingly quiet. The surrounding area emptied out. I innocently blinked. Oh, you mean the matter of yesterday's fight? Didn't you lose? Now I am your boss. You dare treat me like this. My brows furrowed deeply, feeling the need to establish authority. I got up, left my seat, and walked to the podium. My gaze swept across the people in the class, cold and full of coercion. From now on, I am the boss of Class F. If you are unconvinced, feel free to challenge. From now on, you must listen to me. Understand? Although I defeated Luke hyping, Class F was not convinced by this. I, a newly arrived transfer student, and a boy at that. On what grounds can I be the boss? Even if Luke hyping lost, there are still other people around. Making them listen to a weak boy? Don't think winning against Sister Ping is enough. Who knows if you relied on luck or played dirty tricks? Newcomer, don't be too arrogant. Exactly. We only acknowledge Sister Ping. I raise my willow brows slightly. You acknowledge Lu Kaiping. Lu Kaiping acknowledges me. That's a completely different meaning. Is this Mu Chen sick in the head? I won't waste words with the others. My gaze fell on Lu Kaiping. Do you accept yesterday's result? If you don't, I have no way to deal with you. After all, a shameless person is invincible. Of course I have no way. What kind of green tea rhetoric is this? She laughed out of anger, gazing fiercely straight at me, grinding her teeth, forcing out 2 words. I accept. A gentleman takes revenge. 10 years is not too late. Firmly believing yesterday was an accident. Must have played tricks to win. Simply didn't have time to see the movements. She found herself lying on the ground. Considers herself having experienced many real fights. How could she not withstand one move? This is simply impossible. I was very disgusted. Glancing at her, think I want to be the boss? I don't want to be at all. Is it easy to be the boss? Put bluntly, it's a nanny, and an unpaid nanny. In the city of wrongful deaths, it's a life of toil. Don't want to come to the human world and still toil? What can be done for the sake of merits? Entering Class F was an accident. Was originally going to agree. Walking through the corridor, noticed something wrong. 2 masses of keys circling in the air. One black, one purple. Tiny key masses intertwining. The purple key mass is becoming the weaker side. Soon it will be suppressed by the black. Having purple key means a noble person accompanied by black evil key. The situation is not good. Instantly got interested. Helping the noble person remove evil key. Accumulates merits. Learn that below is Class F. Meaning the noble person is in Class F. Of course couldn't let it go. Went to observe. That's why I enrolled in Class F. Lu Kaiping is exactly that lucky. An unlucky noble person. Lu Kaiping, you weren't looking at me? Are the 5th family members really coming to our house? The matter was brought up again at the dining table. It's not a discussion, but an informing. The people of the 5th family are coming. Mu Rualan and Mu Yakin felt that with elders present. They don't need to worry too much. Taking it relatively easy. Mu Xuan's eyes were his mind spinning fast. Only I turned a deaf ear to matters outside the window. Wholeheartedly only focused on eating rice and dishes. Pei Zeru's mood became complicated. Pure nature. What to do in the future? Not taking such a big matter to heart, really quite careless. Xiao Chen, what do you think of this matter? Pei Zeru suddenly asked. While tasting the delicacies, I was stunned for a moment. Blinking and seeing everyone looking at me, looking like they were waiting for my thoughts, I had to put down my chopsticks. Swallowed the food. Thought about it. Since they are coming, well, just host them well. Treating them as ordinary guests is fine. Mu Xuan heard this. Couldn't help but refute. That is someone from the 5th family. How can they be hosted as ordinary guests? Wanting to be served as VIPs? There are plenty. Those who can do it can also enjoy services at hotels. But they didn't. Instead want to come to our house? Why wouldn't they want to be treated like precious treasures? Not everyone wants to be flattered. Father Mu frowned. Thoughtfully. Quickly his brows relaxed, revealing a smile. What Xiao Chen said makes sense. The 5th family isn't one to put on airs. Since coming to our house, being courteous and attentive should be enough. Being too grand would seem flattering. Pei Zeru also figured it out. Xiao Chen is very right. The old madam is low-key. People in the capital rarely see her appear. Is a person who doesn't like to show off. Treating her as an ordinary guest will do. Otherwise, what good place couldn't she find? Father Mu pondered for a while. Said then, let's do it this way. Actually, he also found it strange. Not going to an unfamiliar house as a guest? Why think of coming to the Mu family? Asked eldest sister in the capital, and was scolded. Saying a good opportunity fell on someone else, definitely seize and use it well. Yet he wanted to push it away. What's the point of getting to the bottom of it? What scheme could the 5th family have? Giving the family business away for free? They wouldn't even want it. He hung up the phone on the spot. The 5th family couldn't possibly plot against the Mu family. Since they are coming, take it easy. Just don't offend the 5th family. Not interested in benefits. Let eldest aunt scheme for herself? Hosting the old madam is decided. Mu Xuan, seeing they actually agreed, didn't know what to say. If this isn't nonsense, what is? Let them make a fool of themselves. Joking with their future and livelihood? Wanted to say something? Swallowed the words back. Forget it. Think of a way after the 5th family stays at the house. Made up his mind to think for himself. I didn't take the guests coming to the house to heart. The old madam won't get in my way. I don't need to host. Better to think about how to subdue Lu Kipping. In the blink of an eye, I've been enrolled for over half a month. I adapted very well. Feeling modern kids are too fortunate. Boys can also enter school. Allowed to study as long as learning ability permits. This is an extremely good thing. Must not have experienced it before. The people in Class S seeing me arbitrarily become the boss. Serious and well-behaved in class without acting up? Seriously, reviewing and doing homework after class? Just like a good student? Our class S isn't class 1. Sister Ping, is it going to continue like this? Hei's going to change our class. Gee, Ling Xuan screamed in breakdown. Mu Chen is getting more and more out of line. Being a good student himself is one thing. Forcing them to be one together. Not allowed to fool around and affect the lecture. Not allowed to skip class. Not allowed to skip homework. The worst part is he actually does spot checks. Punished if unable to answer. Until it's understood, Hei's not a student. Hei's the homeroom teacher, right? Big Liu isn't even as dutiful as him. Is he sick in the head? Liu Kaiping, thinking of this, her mouth twitched. At first provoked and defeated her. Suppressed class F's. Resistance. Thought he was so formidable. Going to do something earth-shattering. Could it be the legendary victory and defeat? Liu Kaiping was also very irritable. Can't win in a fight. What could be done? Recalling that weird matter? Unwilling to accept. Can't beat a boy wanted to restore prestige, but afraid of losing face? Must ensure nothing goes wrong. Feeling Mu Chen isn't simple. Put this matter aside for now. I have to make a trip back to the capital. Well, talk when I get back. Liu Kaiping frowned, said irritably, exuding an air of crankiness. Ji Lingchuang pondered silently for a moment. Didn't dare to speak. Those familiar with Sister Ping? No. She is very resistant to and hates the capital. Every time she returns to the capital, her mood is bad, depressed, suppressed, and violent. Didn't dare to ask for trouble. Lei Chinku patted Sister Ping's shoulder. If something's wrong, just say it. Don't carry it alone. Ji Lingchuang quickly chimed in. Sister Ping, we are sisters. Liu Kaiping scoffed. Glanced sideways at the two. Returning to the capital isn't going through fire and water. What's there to be afraid of? The two looked at each other. Didn't speak. Afraid of returning to the capital? The matter from the year before last? Didn't take it seriously at the time, but came back half dead. Covered in cuts and bruises, under the clothes there was nothing intact. Red, swollen, and purple. Blood vessels could burst at any time. Felt like a light touch. Trembling took more than a month to heal. Returned to her familiar self after healing, as if it never happened. Probed to ask, became weird and cold. Staring at people terrifyingly, didn't dare to ask more. Leaving a psychological shadow, knowing they cared about her, Liu Kaiping smiled, warmth in her eyes. All right, stop being so girly. I will protect myself. Not a kid anymore. I will fight back. On the third day, I found Liu wasn't there. Thought she didn't come. Turned out she was absent. Waved Ji Ningswang over. The gesture was like calling a puppy. Wanted to ignore. Pretend not to see. Felt a chill all over. Wrapped in freezing cold. Shivering. Reflexively looked over. Saw me staring at him smiling. With coldness in my eyes, couldn't help shivering. Thought it better to go over, otherwise didn't know the consequences. Definitely not something he wanted to see. What? Not convinced? Spoke viciously. Where's Liu Kaiping? Wanted to talk back. Met the dark demon. Didn't dare. Sister Ping took a leave and isn't coming. I propped my chin, thinking, took a leave. That's not good. Bad luck. Signs of disaster. Hurting herself. Soul unstable. The evil key has suppressed the purple key. Not a good thing. Where did she go on leave? What did she go do? Hearing this interrogation, he exploded. What are you interrogating for? Prisoners. Even if you self-proclaimed boss of Class F, you have no right to treat us as prisoners. I looked baffled, looking at Jining Shuang's name, truly speechless. On the third day, I took a leave. The Mu family decided to treat the guests normally. Surface work needs to be done. Father Mu waved his hand. Whole family mobilized. Took leave to welcome the distinguished guests at home. I have no objection. Asked to take leave, so I took leave. Not knowing Class F turned upside down, ridiculing me about yesterday. Poulet set it aside afterwards, treating my words like wind passing the ear, going to class, finishing school, going home, sleeping early as usual, good mood. Unexpected things happened. Woke up looking for things, calling people. Found no sound, came out. Thought not fully awake. Yelled at the top of the lungs. Face changed. No sound. Felt like dreaming. Touched throat, opened mouth, silently screaming, rushed out. My house was in chaos. Didn't associate it with yesterday, thought got sick. Went to hospital for checkup, no problem. Vocal cords and organs are perfectly fine. Can't speak. Opening mouth, no sound. Doctor attributed it to psychological problems. Recent life has been smooth. Nothing happened. Recommended to go home and rest. Adjust mindset. Maybe it will be fine in a few hours. Listened to the doctor. Class F boiled over. Poulet and the others had an accident. Someone mysteriously lowered their voice. Ji Ningshuang's sharp ears heard. Asked what happened. Classmates sat beside. Gossip news. Sister Ning. My house is close to the Pu family. Made walking the dog. Heard Poulet became mute early in the morning. People around suspected it was fake. Perfectly fine. How did he become mute? Voice messages were fine last night. It's real. The maids. Fellow townsmen chatting, went to hospital, couldn't find any problem. Caused by psychological reasons. Moreover, a few close friends also all took leave today. Surroundings went quiet. Looked at each other. Didn't know whether to believe it or not. Inconceivable. Didn't connect it to yesterday. Only G. Lei Chinky's heart skipped a beat. Thought of what I said yesterday? Punish you to be unable to speak for 3 days. G. Ling Xuan got goosebumps all over. Felt chilly. Too evil Chinku. Is this related to Mu Chen? One can't help but suspect. Finished saying it yesterday. Accident happened today. Exactly the same as the punishment. This is too coincidental. Lei Chinku frowned. Lei Chinku took a deep breath. Whether it's a coincidence or what, let's not mess with him in the future. This person is truly unfathomable. What if it really is his doing? Our fate would probably be even worse. Jiling Shuang nodded desperately. She thought so too. From that day on, the class atmosphere changed. No one dared to be loud and noisy anymore. All obediently listened to me and read books. I watched all this with satisfaction. As long as they don't cause trouble anymore, I couldn't be bothered to use methods against them. The following days were also peaceful, but public opinion on the internet became more intense. When Yimo's parents brought out evidence, handed it directly to the police. Police intervened to investigate and collect evidence. The truth of the mall incident that year was uncovered. Jiang and a few involved classmates were all given major demerits by the school and asked to withdraw from school. The matter could finally no longer be completely hidden. Mu Xuan was also restless at home, trembling with fear all day. In a trance? The Mu family members looking at the news reports. Knowing Jiang Yan was involved in a murder case, all felt shocked and scared after the fact. Peizueru looked at Mu Xuan, opened her mouth and asked, Xiao Xuan, tell mom honestly. Did you participate in what Jiang Yan did? Mu Xuan was scared, his face as pale as paper. Knelt on the ground with a thud. Mom, I really didn't participate in harming anyone. I was just watching from the side. I didn't dare to stop them at the time. I really know I was wrong. Father Mu and the several sisters finished listening, their eyes full of deep disappointment. Although he didn't directly push the person, but standing by coldly and indulging in covering up is equally unforgivable evil. Father Mu made a decision with a cold face. The Mu family cannot keep a big Buddha like you. I will give you a sum for living expenses. You move out and live on your own. Look out for yourself in the future. Mu Xuan cried and pleaded bitterly with everyone, but this time no one was soft-hearted and partial anymore. Even Mu Yui turned her head away. Although her brain wasn't smart usually, but she could distinguish right from wrong, Mu Xuan was ultimately sent out of the Mu family. Their family businesses faced boycotts, going bankrupt or facing closure, one after another. This time it's truly receiving retribution. Wen Yimo looking at me in the room, with no more resentment in her eyes. Thank you for seeking justice for me. Seeing them receive the punishment they deserve, I can finally leave in peace. I smiled and nodded. Go on, go reincarnate. You will be safe and smooth in your next life. She turned into specks of starlight and dissipated. A surge of pure merit flowed into my body. I felt my power replenish quite a bit. Days returned to their former peace. I became the stabilizing force of Class F, leading the whole class to counterattack. Lu Kaiping also put away her gangster attitude. Got admitted into a pretty good university. I enjoy family affection in the Mu family. Mom, Dad, and my sisters all spoil me, although I am still sharp-tongued and love to roast people. But they know I am kind-hearted at the bottom. All tolerate my little temper. Life in the human world is quite beautiful. As for the identity of the young master of the city of wrongful deaths, let me finish experiencing this life here. Before going back to take over those affairs, the narrative unfolds as a compelling critique of societal elitism, positing that one's intrinsic value is never determined by biological heritage or social standing, but rather by the strength of one's character and the consistency of their moral compass. By portraying a protagonist who rejects the submissive role often assigned to the returned heir and instead operates from a place of supreme confidence and justice, the story challenges the audience to abandon the desperate need for validation from toxic familial structures, suggesting that true dignity is found when one ceases to seek love where it is conditional or undeserved. Furthermore, the downfall of characters like Mu, Xuan, and Jiang Yan serves as a stark reminder that privilege and status offer no sanctuary against the immutable laws of cause and effect, illustrating that cruelty, especially when directed at those perceived as lesser, inevitably sows the seeds of one's own undoing. The tragic subplot involving Wen Yimo acts as a critical bridge between the protagonist's internal growth and the external world, highlighting the necessity of empathy and the courage to advocate for the voiceless, even when the system is rigged against them. Ultimately, the story functions as a powerful manifesto for individual empowerment, teaching the audience that while one cannot control the circumstances of their birth, they maintain total sovereignty over their actions. It is an urgent call to forsake the pursuit of shallow elitism, to recognize that power without morality is merely a prelude to destruction, and to understand that the path to true liberation involves severing ties with abusive environments to forge an authentic identity rooted in justice, accountability, and unwavering